starting by showing Tobirama Senju a summary of Naruto. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 126. Hidden completes inventory. Minato Namikaze's death can actually be considered a plot kill. Obito had already been driven away, and only the Nine Tails was left there. Not to mention that putting the Nine Tails back into Kushina's stomach would save Kushina's life. Even if Kushina died, Minato didn't have to die with her. After all, Minato was the Hokage of Konoha village. He was not only responsible for his wife and children, but also for the villagers of the entire village. Dying for love is really irresponsible. And there's this guy Kakuzu. In the early stage, he was rendered invincible, with 5 ninjutsu cannons. If you have the guts, you can come. In the end, he was overturned by Uzumaki Naruto's big ball and died in the hands of Kakashi, who picked up the leak. Back to Hidden. In fact, the light screen video did not show the entire battle of Shikamaru versus Hidden, but only showed a rough outline. However, judging from the values in the formula book, the gap between the two sides is very large, so large that Hidden could not lose no matter how he looked at it. Then Hidden lost. The loss was so unexpected. Reality is not a work. Even if we already know all the information about the enemy, we must not be careless in battle and must avoid the so-called plot killing. Yes, Nadami-sama. As for the blood donation vehicle circulated by netizens, Hidden entered the women's bathroom, and rummaged through the female ninjas' trash can, etc. A series of tricks to curse and kill ninjas. Considering the rigorous style of treating special corpses during the ninja war, Hidden would most likely be beaten up if he drove a blood donation vehicle to draw blood from people. And Hidden only lived the blood stored in the fresh syringe, so rummaging through the trash can is not a good idea. If Hidden could sneak into the medical department to draw blood, he might be able to secretly kill a few genin who love to go to the hospital. Finally, some people in the Akatsuki organization died at persistence, some died for their ideals, and some died in a heroic way. But only Hidden's death was a little smelly. Clean and hygienic, brothers. Okay, the above is the content of this issue. This is the new Tian. See you next time. Do people in a Tian's world have such wild imaginations? I understand the blood donation vehicle, and I can understand entering the women's restroom, but why rummaging through the female ninja's trash can? Do you want to pick up the sanitation? Shut up, Jiraiya. Before Jiraiya could finish his words, Tsunade punched Jiraiya in the abdomen. Jiraiya landed after 3.5 returns to the sky, but because he didn't stand firmly, he got 0 points. Violent girl, that's enough. Don't beat me up just because I like you. Jiraiya stood up and rubbed the place where he was hit. Jiraiya looked at Tsunade with indignation on his face. Heck, do I need you to like me? You little pervert, stinky hooligan, who cares if you like me? Tsunade, you've gone too far. Really? I have something even more extreme. Do you want to try it? After saying that, Tsunade clenched her fist and let Jiraiya look at her. Suddenly, Jiraiya's face changed. He thought Tsunade was going to hit him again, so he quickly dodged and came between Sarutobi Hiruzen and Senju Tobirama. Hokage, you don't care about this. Senju Tobirama looked at Jiraiya with a serious face and said, a man should take his own responsibility. Jiraiya was speechless and turned his head to Sarutobi Hiruzen, wanting him to use his teacher's name to control Tsunade. Unexpectedly, Sarutobi Hiruzen did not look at Jiraiya, but turned his head to the other side and whistled, showing that he didn't want to care. Okay, this is how you play, right? Jiraiya laughed angrily, and came to Tsunade without thinking about anything else, with a stern expression. Just when Tsunade thought that this guy was going to hit her, Jiraiya suddenly bent forward in frustration and said loudly, Tsunade, I was wrong. Okay, I forgive you. Tsunade is like this, she is soft but not hard. If someone is tough with her, she will act tougher than them. Jiraiya did this, so Tsunade felt embarrassed to force him again. Seeing Tsunade's attitude soften, Jiraiya immediately took advantage of the situation and said to Tsunade with a wretched face, Hehe, I knew you couldn't bear to continue beating me, Tsunade, do you want to date me tomorrow hehe? Tsunade looked at Jiraiya and replied with a smile, okay. You agreed. Jiraiya stared at Tsunade with his eyes wide open, with an incredible expression on his face. Yeah, well, I knew that as long as I was shameless enough, I would be able to impress you one day. Hearing this, Tsunade clenched her hands, wishing she could beat him up again. But she also understood that beating him up was not enough to teach him a lesson. For this reason, she decided to change her strategy. Don't you want to date her? Then agree to this guy. Dating always costs money anyway. Tsunade has made up her mind that she will drain Jiraiya's wallet tomorrow, so that he will feel pain and stop bothering her. Tsunade's thoughts are easy to guess. Everyone present, except Jiraiya who was dancing with excitement and Senju Tobirama who was talking to the Third Hokage, more or less guessed Tsunade's mentality at the moment. After all, with his hands clenched and teeth gnashed, he really doesn't look like he is looking forward to a day tomorrow. Adhering to the principle that young people should solve their own problems, they all tacitly did not remind Jiraiya. However, Orochimaru looked at Jiraiya who was hesitant to speak and wanted to remind him. Under Tsunade's angry gaze, he sighed and dared not say anything more. In the evening, people who had watched the light screen video began to walk out of the Hokage building and return to their homes. Nohara Lin's house was not far from the Hokage building, only 2 streets away, and it was a 2-bedroom, 1 living room house. The reason why she lived here was because her original house was no longer habitable. After years of development, the old house had long been demolished by the village and a commercial street had been built. Nohara Rin was a hero of the village after all, so Jiraiya the 5th generation would naturally not treat her badly. Kakashi, thank you for sending me back. Nothing, this is what I should do. Would you like to come in and have a cup of tea? Standing at the door, Nohara Rin smiled and invited Kakashi in. But Kakashi was hesitant and shook his head to refuse Nohara Rin's invitation. No, it's getting late, you should go to bed early. After saying that, Kakashi turned around and left, and soon his figure disappeared from Nohara Rin's eyes. Looking at Kakashi's disappearing back, Nohara Rin sighed. Since she was resurrected, she always felt that there was something between her and Kakashi. Familiar, but also a little strange. Chapter 127 Obito's determination. After opening the door with the key and entering the house, Nohara Rin was about to turn on the light when she suddenly saw a figure sitting on the sofa. She was so scared that she almost screamed. Who's there? Rin, it's me. Hearing that it was Obito's voice, Nohara Rin breathed a sigh of relief and patted her barren chest. It's Obito, you almost scared me to death just now. Nohara Rin didn't ask how Obito got in. During the period after her resurrection, Obito had looked for her several times, and each time he was elusive. After asking Kakashi about Obito, she knew about Obito's Kamui ability, which could easily penetrate the wall of her house and enter the house. Did Kakashi send you back? I heard his voice just now. Yes. Putting the ninja tool bag on the table, Nohara Rin sat down next to Obito and looked at him seriously. Obito, can't you come back? Both I and Kakashi are looking forward to your return to Konoha. Hearing this, Obito moved back a little and said, Rin, I can't come back anymore. You always say you can't come back, you have to give me a reason. Obito was silent. Does this still need a reason? When he released the 9 tails, he killed his teacher and his master's wife, and also killed a large number of Konoha ninjas. Can Konoha really forgive him for such an act? If there was no Moon Knight plan to support him to move forward, I'm afraid he wouldn't forgive himself. And the talisman on his heart, if he didn't solve this thing, it would always be a hidden danger. He knew that after he was gone, Zetsu would definitely find a new partner to implement Madara's plan. Even if Zetsu found someone to use the impure world reincarnation to revive Madara, he wouldn't be surprised. Who said Zetsu was Madara's will? It's you who lived for Madara. Thinking of this, Obito became more determined not to return to Konoha. One wrong step, all wrong steps. Since this step has been taken, there is no turning back. The only thing to do is to move forward bravely and go all the way. Okay, I won't make it difficult for you. Seeing that Obito was silent as always, Lin knew that she couldn't ask anything. She changed her tone and began to ask about Uchiha Madara. Obito, do you know where Uchiha Madara is buried? Huh. Why do you ask this question? Obito was surprised. Lin had no relationship with Uchiha Madara at all, why would she ask about Madara? I don't know why either. The 5th Hokage and the 3rd Hokage asked me to ask you this question. Hearing that these two people wanted to know the location of Madara's grave, Obito subconsciously frowned. Rin, do you know what their purpose is? I don't know the details. I only know that the 2 Hokages seem to need some Madara's body tissue. Body tissue? What do they want this for? Do they want to resurrect Uchiha Madara through the impure world reincarnation? After saying this, Obito laughed himself. Because in his opinion, this is simply impossible. Given Madara's attitude towards Konoha, he would probably turn against them as soon as he was resurrected and kill all the people in Konoha. He didn't believe that he could control Uchiha Madara with just the impure world reincarnation. I won't reveal the location of Madara's grave. Only Zetsu and I know it. If I tell you, it will be easy for Zetsu to find out. Although I'm not afraid of Zetsu, it will be a bit of trouble. I understand. How about this? The Third Hokage and his men just want Madara's body tissue. I'll send you a rib of Madara in a few days. In this way, it shouldn't be discovered by Zetsu. Well, you have to be careful too. After finishing the business, the two chatted casually until Lin heard Obito's stomach growling. Are you hungry? I'll cook you a bowl of noodles. Obito blushed, nodded embarrassedly, and said, okay, I haven't eaten your noodles for a long time. Then wait a moment, I'll go cook the noodles. Okay. The noodles cooked very quickly, but Obito ate very slowly. He really enjoyed being with Rin. As long as he was with her, Obito felt very comfortable, and all the depression in his heart turned into tranquility. Here, there was no intrigue, no deception, only a light warmth. Obito had already thought about it. Since Rin had been resurrected, there was no need to carry out the Eye of the Moon plan. However, the tailed beast still had to be captured. Firstly, he wanted to use the tailed beast to become the 10-tailed Jinchuriki and remove the hidden danger of the talisman in the heart. Secondly, he wanted to become the strongest in the ninja world, so that he could ensure Rin's safety and protect her. He would never let Rin die in front of him again, never. Okay, Lin, I've finished my noodles and I'm leaving too. I'll bring the food to you in a few days. Well, you have to be careful too. Don't worry, Lin, I'm not bragging. Looking at the entire ninja world, no one can stop me as long as I want to run. Ha, I believe this. The fact that you were able to escape under the eyes of so many people that day is enough to prove that you are the strongest escape master in the ninja world. Ha, right. Obito. Why do I feel something is wrong? Lin, I'm leaving. See you next time. See you next time. Obito moved quickly. After leaving Lin's room, he went straight to the burial place of Uchiha Madara. In order to prevent their bodies from being destroyed, Uchiha Madara and Zetsu specially found an extremely remote place to use as their own cemetery. If he hadn't buried Madara with Zetsu at the beginning, he wouldn't have thought that Madara would be buried here. So in the original plot, when Orochi showed Obito Madara's impure world body, Obito was so surprised. Madara, don't blame me, I also want to see what those people in Konoha are going to do. Everyone is curious. Obito was very curious about what the people of Konoha wanted Madara's body to shoot for. What else could this thing be used for besides being used as a resurrection material for the impure world reincarnation? This was really curious. Digging the soil and opening the coffin lid. Madara had been dead for many years, and his body had long since decayed. Now only a skeleton was left. Obito casually pulled out a rib and put it into his Kamui space. When he was about to close the coffin lid, Black Zetsu suddenly appeared. Obito, what are you doing here? The appearance of Black Zetsu startled Obito. However, he did not show it because he was wearing a mask. He just said lightly, nothing, I just came to see if Madara's body has been stolen. Steal? Yes, you also know that Orochimaru can perform the impure world reincarnation. If he gets Madara's body, uses the impure world reincarnation to revive and control Madara, then the situation will be serious. Black Zetsu looked at Obito deeply and replied, you're right, the impure world reincarnation is indeed a big threat. Otherwise, let me keep Madara's body. I promise that no one from Konoha will find it. Okay, if there is nothing else, I will leave first. Okay. Looking at Obito who hid in the Kamui space and disappeared, Black Zetsu's face was gloomy, making his already dark face even darker. It knew that its plan with Madara had gradually deviated from the original track. Obito was becoming more and more difficult to control. Impure world reincarnation. It's not impossible when necessary. Chapter 128. Discover in Kakuza. In the time and space of the Third Hokage, Obito had already obtained Madara's ribs and started to head for Konoha. In the time and space of Senju Tobirama, the younger ninja sent out also successfully found Kakuza. It's been almost a month, and we finally found him. Where is he now? Replying to the Hokage, Kakuza is currently in the Shima Castle on the border of the Land of Lightning. I'll give you 2 days off, go down and have a good rest. Thank you, Hokage. It was easy to deal with Kakuza after knowing where he was. There was no need to say anything, just go and get someone. He first went to his eldest sister-in-law and invited Uzumaki Mito. When Mito heard that he could leave the village, he didn't ask Tobirama what he was going to do. Mito agreed very happily. The next ones were the 4 disciples who are still in the village. Shimura Damso, Mito Kadonen, Yutan Kahara, and Akimichi Tofu. The 4 of them didn't ask much and happily agreed to teacher Tobirama. As for Uchiha Kagami and Sarutobi Hiruzen Senju, Tobirama used the Flying Thunder God technique to go to the fire capital. After chatting with the fire country daimyo, he successfully gave Hiruzen and Kagami several days off. Hiruzen, Kagami, you go to Uchiha Castle and wait first. My sister-in-law and I will be there soon. Yes, teacher. While chatting with the daimyo, Tobirama also took the opportunity to restore his chakra. Now it is almost recovered. With a flash, he returned to Konoha. Okay, everyone has been found. Let's go now. Speed is of the essence. Tobirama was afraid that Kakuza would run away, so he didn't plan to use some smoke bombs to hide his whereabouts. He took the 5 people and swaggered out of the village. For a while, the spies from various villages lurking in Konoha used their own means to contact the outside world and revealed the news that Senju Tobirama had left the village with his disciples. Because Uzumaki Mito was well protected by the village and she was wearing a mask, the lurking personnel had no idea that the 9-tailed human pillar had also left the village. The Land of Lightning is in the northeast corner of the Land of Fire, and there is the Land of Fields in between. In the original plot, the ninja village of the Land of Fields is the Sound Village founded by Yorokimura. Now the timeline here in Tobirama has not yet reached the beginning of the original plot, so this country has not yet had its own ninja village. This is very good. Without the ninja blocking it, Tobirama and his party only spent a little more than a day to pass through the Land of Fields and arrived in the Land of Lightning. Once here, they can no longer swagger and rush on the road unscrupulously. The Hidden Cloud Village in the Land of Lightning is at least one of the 5 major ninja villages. Although a large amount of supplies and money were extorted by Tobirama half a year ago, the Hidden Cloud Village has the support of the Land of Lightning, and half a year should have eased a lot. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, Tobirama and his party began to hide their whereabouts. Of course, he also knew that he could not hide it for long. However, as long as they are fast enough, after finding Kakuza, they will beat him up and make him convinced, and then return to the village immediately. As long as they are fast enough, those who have ideas about them will not be able to catch up with them. Another day passed, and Tobirama and his party arrived at Uchiha Castle smoothly. They found the marks left by the Yanga ninjas, Hiruzen, and Kagami, and the Konoha side successfully joined forces. Where is Kagami? Why isn't he here? Kagami is following Kakuza. What's going on? Tell me about it. It's like this, teacher. You came a little late. Kakuza has already received the bounty from the gold exchange and left Uchiha Castle. In order not to lose Kakuza's whereabouts, Kagami followed him out of the city. Is that so? On the way here, Tobirama had already thought of this, and now he was not surprised to hear that Kakuza had left Uchiha Castle. Well, let's follow the marks left by Kagami now. At this point, Tobirama turned his head and looked at the 6 masked Anga ninjas, and continued. You should go back to Konoha first. You won't be needed in the next operation. Yes, Okage-sama. It's not good. My luck has been so bad these 2 days, finally it's open. Walking on the green path, Kakuza looked very happy. Since he became a rebel ninja of Takaguni village, he has put all his experience into making money. However, as a ninja, he has no other skills except chopping people. After thinking about it, he can only become a bounty hunter. Fortunately, there is at least one underground gold exchange in major cities in various countries. This underground gold exchange is the main source of bounties for people like him. He has been taking tasks, killing people, and collecting bounties here for many years. The corners who have earned a lot of bounties are never tired of it and have no boredom at all. This kind of thing can make him feel the fun of fighting, crushing, and fighting, pressing, and he can also get a lot of money. He will not feel bored even if he does it for another 100 years. It's just that his luck has been a little bad recently. Either he accepted a task, and when he found the target person, he found that the other party's head was gone. Or there is no task suitable for him to take. Taking on people who are worth tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of taels is simply a waste of his time. Fortunately, 2 days ago, after he entered the Land of Lightning, he saw a rebel ninja from the Hidden Mist with a bounty of 3 million taels. Of course, he hadn't been in business for a long time, so he killed the man and went to the underground gold exchange to collect the bounty. He originally wanted to stay in Ishimo City for a few more days to rest. As a result, he was perceptive and noticed that someone in the city was watching him. For this reason, he left the city immediately after receiving the bounty. In the city with a surging population, he was not sure who was watching him. Once these people followed him out of the city, don't blame him. Thinking of this, Kakuza felt that he was far enough away from Ishimo City. Even if a battle broke out, the ninjas of the Hidden Mist would not be able to catch up for a while. Let me see if these rats will come out with me. Kakuza walked behind a big tree and silently buried a few black lines. These black lines were the product of his fusion of the Earth's resentment, which could be used to attack enemies, sew up bodies, and conduct reconnaissance. In order to confuse possible trackers, Kakuza created a clone and continued to move forward, while his original body found a place to hide. With the big tree as cover, Uchiha Kagami did not feel Kakuza's small movement. Not long after Kakuza left the big tree, he followed Kakuza's footsteps and came here. The existence of the black line made Kakuza, who was ambushing somewhere around, know that behind him, there was really a person who was not afraid of death and was following him. There was nothing to say. Since he dared to follow me, let's kill him. Kakuza gently raised the index finger and middle finger of his right hand, and the black line ambushing under the big tree immediately drilled out and attacked Uchiha Kagami's neck. Behind him, a strong sound of breaking through the air came, and Kagami reacted quickly to avoid the attack of the black line. At the same time, he formed a seal with his hands and burned these black lines into ashes with a fireball. Chapter 129 Kakuza. A friend who doesn't hinder my ability to make money is a good friend. Swoosh! Another burst of air-breaking sound came, and this time Uchiha Kagami had no time to dodge. Kakuza's tentacle fist successfully hit Uchiha Kagami's back. However, Kakuza did not show the slightest bit of happiness, but frowned. This touch is not right. Is it a substitution technique? Uchiha Kagami did use the substitution technique when the tentacle fist hit him, as Kakuza thought. It must be said that the substitution technique, although it is only an E-level basic ninjutsu, is a true divine skill if used well. Uchiha Kagami is the best evidence. If he hadn't used the substitution technique on impulse, he would have been ninja'd by Kakuza's tentacle fist. A ninja who can dodge my two attacks should not be an unknown person. Can you tell me what the guy on the opposite side is called? Walking out from behind a tree, Uchiha Kagami looked at Kakuza with a solemn expression. My name is Uchiha Kagami. I'm from the Uchiha family. Wait a minute. Kakuza took out a booklet from his pocket and quickly searched through it. I found it. Your head is worth 30 million taels. Hehe, it's my turn to get rich today. Are you sure you can get me? Oh? Do you know me? Putting away the booklet, Kakuza didn't mind chatting with his prey. Chatting before the battle to relax his mind was his last kindness to his prey. Of course, there are not many people in the entire ninja world who can escape from the hands of our first Hokage, Senju Hashirama. It seems that you really know me. Kakuza was still very melancholy when he heard the name of Senju Hashirama from his prey. That year, he was still an aspiring young man who was willing to sacrifice his life for the village. He listened to the village leader's trickery and went to assassinate the first Hokage of Konoha. At the time, he thought that the first Hokage of Konoha was no different from the other people he assassinated. As long as he took action, he could successfully kill the target. When he really assassinated Hashirama Senju, he realized how wrong he was. Hashirama Senju only created a so-called wood-style clone, and he had already used all his strength, but in the end he still couldn't beat this wood clone. If Hashirama Senju hadn't been kind and said that he was a talent and let him go, he would have died in his hands. There would have been no bloodbath in Takagakuren snatching away the Earth Grudge. The past was unbearable to look back on. Kakuza recalled the danger when he assassinated Hashirama Senju, and thought of the other party's kindness, shook his head and said to the mirror. Forget it, since you were a Konoha ninja, you go, I won't kill you. ? Kakuza's words confused Uchiha Kagami. When watching the light screen video, he didn't find that Kakuza was a sentimental person who would care about favors. Could it be because of Kakuza's time? In the light screen video, although there is no exact time for Kakuza to appear, it should be after Konoha's 61 years. It was only the end of the 21st year of Konoha. There was a gap of more than 40 years in between. In such a long time, anything could happen. For example, turning a sentimental and kind-hearted Kakuza into a cold-blooded butcher. Thinking of this, Jin felt that perhaps he could use the favor of not killing the first generation back then to repay the favor and let him join Konoha. Mr. Kakuza has been wandering around in the ninja world for so many years. Have you ever thought about settling down? Konoha wants to recruit me. Kakuza was a rookie who had just started out. When Uchiha said this, he knew that the other party was recruiting him. This made him feel a little funny. Not to mention that he now believes in money, not some shitty friendship or bond. Even if he was still the same person back then, he would not join Konoha. Hey, I finally felt compassion. Since you don't want to leave when I ask you to, then you don't have to leave. As soon as the voice fell, Kakuza activated the Earth Resentment Nature Mask. 4 clones with black bodies and white scary masks jumped out of him. Mr. Kakuza, wait a minute. We don't need to fight fearlessly. Seeing Kakuza split out his Earth Grudge clone, looking ready to attack at any time, Uchiha Kagami was shocked. Without thinking, he instantly opened his main scheme Sharingan and shot a Tamamo that could turn Kakuza into his friend. Kakuza, who was ready to kill Uchiha Kagami so that he could collect the bounty with his head, seemed to have noticed something and did not act immediately. This made Uchiha Kagami relieved. To be honest, he was not afraid of Kakuza. With the inventory of the light screen video, they had already known Kakuza's weaknesses and fighting style. With this information in hand, Kagami was confident that he could kill Kakuza. However, they were here to invite Kakuza to join Konoha, not to kill Kakuza. Once a fight broke out, it would easily attract the Kamugaku ninja to come and check, and it would also easily arouse the anger of both sides. No matter how you look at it, it's not worth it. It's better to make a Tamemono and make Kakuza his friend. With a friendship, he can persuade Kakuza to join Konoha. Kakuza-san, my good friend, don't you want to go back to Konoha with me? TSK, what's the good of going to Konoha? I can't make as much money as I do now by doing missions. Besides, I don't like being controlled by others. Oh, these are all negotiable. Uchiha Kagami walked up to Kakuza with a smile on his face, put his arm around his shoulders, and acted like a good brother. Kakuza-san, do you know what is most important in the ninja world nowadays? Strength. It's not wrong, but I think the most important thing should be power. Power. That's right. To walk in the ninja world, you need power, background, and connections. Without these 3 things, no matter how strong you are just a lonely person. Once something happens, there will be no one to help you. Don't you think so, Kakuza-san? What you said seems to make some sense. Seeing Kakuza looking thoughtful, Kagami seemed very happy. Just as he was about to continue persuading, he saw Kakuza's face suddenly change, and his tone became very firm. However, I am still used to acting alone, so that I don't have to share the bounty I earn with others. As my friend, you should know that if anyone dares to stop me from making money, no one can stop me. And you, my friend, if you want me to join Konoha, you are delaying my making money, so? Friends who don't delay me from making money are good friends. What kind of people won't delay me from making money? What? Of course it's the dead. After saying this, the fire-attributed clone behind Kakuza, completely ignoring the fact that the original body was still standing in front, fired a powerful fire escape at Uchiha Kagami in front. Fire escape. Head hard work. Chapter 130 Uchiha Kagami vs Kakuza. Uchiha Kagami was too close to Kakuza. When Kakuza finished speaking, he had already tried his best to stay away from Kakuza. He didn't expect Kakuza to be so decisive to attack his friend. Facing a large-scale fire escape attack, the substitution technique was no longer effective. If Uchiha Kagami wanted to avoid being hurt, he could only use that move. Boom! The flames like the seawater submerged Uchiha Kagami, and all the trees affected by this wave of flames turned into ashes. Kakuza felt that his friend should also be like the surrounding trees, turning into a wisp of dust in that fierce flames like the tide. Kagami, my only friend, rest in peace. Kakuza used his strongest fire escape ninjutsu just to prevent Kagami from suffering death. Perhaps this was his last tenderness to his friend. Thinking that once Kagami died, he would not even have a friend in the huge ninja world, he couldn't help but shed a tear of sadness. Fortunately, I still have money to keep me company. As long as I have enough money, I won't feel lonely. After putting away the 4 Earth Grudge clones, Kakuza turned around and prepared to leave. The big fire in the woods here will definitely attract the attention of the Cloud Ninjas. If he doesn't leave now, when will he leave? However, when he jumped onto a big tree, he immediately felt a cold shake gushing out from the sea of fire behind him. What is this? Turning his head, looking at the grey skeleton giant composed of chakra, Kakuza widened his eyes in shock. Is this the ultimate eye technique of the Sharingan, Susanoo? Kakuza had never seen Susanoo, but when he was in Takegaku, he read a book that recorded the strongest power in the ninja world at the time. In the book, the first place is the word release of the first Hokage, Tobirama Senju. The second place is the ultimate eye technique of the Mangekyo Sharingan, Susanoo. Kakuza, even if I break your bones, I will bring you back to Konoha. Kagami, who was standing in the center of Susanoo, was very angry. Every time he used the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan, his vision would decrease a little. Especially when using Susanoo, his vision decreased too damn fast. In order to prevent himself from becoming blind, he decided to make a quick decision and quickly deal with Kakuza. With his mind moving, the grey Susanoo instantly transformed into a chakra sword and slashed at Kakuza. Facing the attack, Kakuza could not stand still stupidly. He quickly got down from the tree and used Z-shaped movement to avoid Kagami's attack. Susanoo is so big, its attack speed must not be very fast. Kakashi was right. Susanoo's attack speed was indeed not fast. It might be enough to deal with ordinary genin, but it was not enough to deal with a ninja of Kakuza's level. But Kakashi still underestimated Susanoo. How could Susanoo, which can be called one of the ultimate eye techniques of the Sharingan, be so simple? Its attack speed is not very fast, but its attack power and range are large. Tsunade came, and Kakuza saw the right time to dodge. As he thought, Susanoo's attack could not hit him at all. However, this knife still had an impact on Kakuza. As the chakra sword chopped the ground, the strong wind brought by the sword and the stone particles produced by the destruction of the ground still caused Kakuza to be slightly injured. The former scratched Kakuza's face and the latter hit Kakuza's body, leaving him with several holes. It is worthy at being the ultimate eye technique of the Sharingan. It is really troublesome. Kakuza naturally didn't care about just a few small holes. But if he kept doing this, a few small holes might soon become dozens of small holes. If his luck was a little worse, and the stone penetrated the chest cavity and damaged the heart, then he would really want to cry without tears. Run away. This is not Kakuza's style. Dodge. He is still the one who suffers. In this case, the only way is to counterattack. Whoosh! 4 earthly resentment clones appeared again. In the gap between Susanoo's attacks, Kakuza controlled the fire and wind clones to come to the left of Susanoo, and the water and lightning clones to come to the right of Susanoo. With the clones in place, Kakuza launched his most powerful attack. Fire style. Headache wind style. Suppression compound ninjutsu. Flame wind and waves. The wind helped the fire, and with the help of suppression, the already powerful headache, the range and temperature of the flames increased a lot again. Lightning style. Pseudo-darkness water style. Water curtain 10 compound ninjutsu. Thunder and water explosion. The combination of thunder and water is not as powerful as the combination of fire and wind. However, just looking at the strong lightning wrapped around the water cannon, you can tell that the power of this move is not small. If the flame wind and waves is a group attack, then the thunder and water explosion is a single attack. Boom. The 2 compound ninjutsu hit Susanoo, causing bursts of explosions. With the explosion, several small holes appeared on Susanoo. Susanoo, the defensor is broken. Uchiha Kagami, who was wrapped in Susanoo, could feel the power of these 2 compound ninjutsu the most. Seeing that the explosion continued, the holes on Susanoo became more and more numerous and larger. He felt that he couldn't go on like this, and immediately increased the output of chakra. With further chakra support, meridians and flesh began to slowly appear on Susanoo, which was originally in the form of a skeleton. The hole blasted by Kakuza also began to be refilled with chakra. After a while, a brand new Susanoo with complete meridians, a shield in the left hand and a sword in the right hand appeared in front of Kakuza. Without any nonsense, Susanoo waved its left hand, and the shield in its hand flew towards Kakuza like a shuriken. At the same time, Kagami predicted the space where Kakuza would dodge, manipulated Susanoo, and attacked first with the sword in his right hand. Facing the attack of the shield and sword, Kakuza was a little panicked. He wanted to dodge. Whether it was a shield or a sword, being hit by these 2 things would definitely not be pleasant. However, the dodge route had been blocked by G in advance, and it was basically impossible for him to dodge without injury. At this time, Kakuza had only 2 choices. Either, try your best to dodge and be chopped by the sword of Susanoo. Or, wait for death on the spot and be smashed by the shield of Susanoo. Both are hard to escape the fate of losing a heart. So Kakuza chose neither. He felt that he could still struggle a little longer. Earth Escape. Earth Spear. This is Kakuza's strongest Earth Escape. Use Earth Escape chakra to harden your skin. When attacking, you can easily knock down a wall. When defending, you can also block the explosion of the detonating talisman. Of course, he didn't think that a mirror spear could block the attack of Susanoo. In addition to using the earth spear, he also released many black lines from behind. Using these black lines, while resisting the shield and sword of Susanoo, he wrapped a clone to move and dodge. After many operations, Kakuza successfully lost the heart of his body. Chapter 131 Kakuza Compromises. It is said that Kakuza's immortality is more advanced than Hiden's immortality. Kakuza was hit by the Susanoo shield and slashed by the Susanoo sword. His body could not withstand such fierce attacks and was torn into pieces. At this time, the black lines of the earth grudge on Kakuza's body began to burst out. A large number of black lines began to flow out from his body, and most of them began to attack Uchiha Kagemi's Susanoo. The other small part began to sew up Kakuza's body. At the same time, the 4 Earth Grudge clones that Kakuza had separated in advance also began to return to the main body, so the Kakuza would not die because of heart problems. TSK These black lines are really troublesome. Maybe because these black lines are still connected to Kakuza, there is a continuous supply of chakra. Compared with the black lines that were ambushed under the tree before, these black lines have not only become tougher, but also have a much higher flexibility. However, in front of the second stage Susanoo, these are not a problem. That is to say, in order to protect his eyes, Kakuza did not output his pupil power at full power, and he did not intend to kill Kakuza. Otherwise, in front of a Gundam that knew all his combat information, even if Kakuza had a few more hearts, it would not be enough for the Gundam to cut. Soon, Kakuza's body was pieced together, and he stood up from the ground as if nothing had happened. "What did you do to me?" Retracting his black line, Kakuza's eyes were full of fierceness. Kakuza killed him once, and the effect of Termino naturally disappeared. Kakuza, who came to his senses, recalled what happened just now and broke out in a cold sweat. This technique that can change other people's consciousness to a certain extent makes Kakuza feel like he is facing a great enemy. He believes in money, and he is lucky this time. Even though he was implanted with the consciousness that Kakuza is his good friend, he still attacked this so-called good friend. But what about next time? Will he be so lucky next time? When he thought that he might still regard the other party as a good friend, Kakuza almost felt sick. He has been walking in the ninja world for so many years, and today is the first time he has seen such an evil technique. It's really too outrageous. Don't you already know? Kakuza put away his black line, and Kagami also cancelled Susanoo. The moment Susanoo disappeared, Kagami couldn't help but cover his eyes. After a long while, when he removed his right hand that was covering his eyes, 2 lines of blood and tears suddenly flowed down. It seems that using Susanoo will cause great damage to your eyes. It's okay. After all, it's one of the ultimate eye techniques of my Uchiha family. It's normal to consume a lot. With a slight smile, Kagami began to walk slowly towards Kakuza. With every step he took, Kakuza's psychological pressure would increase. There are 2 paths in front of him. The first path is to continue fighting Kagami. Judging from the bleeding eyes, Kagami's consumption may not be less than his. He did lose a heart, but he still has 4. Compared with his peak period, he is not much weaker. Uchiha Kagami is different. Using Susanoo, whether it is the consumption of chakra or the damage to the eyes, is very huge. If he fights with the other party again, he thinks that he still has a great chance of winning. The second way is to run away. He doesn't need to fight Uchiha Kagami to death. Just like what the other party said just now. To get out there, you need to rely on power, background, and connections. If he kills Uchiha Kagami, let alone whether Konoha will help him get revenge, the Uchiha group of lunatics will not let him go. Thinking of this, Kakuza is inclined to retreat. But now he can't run away just because he wants to. Seeing that Kakuza intends to escape, Kagami sighed, put his right hand on his forehead and said, "How long are you going to watch? Don't you see that Kakuza wants to run away?" Hearing this, Kakuza was shocked. Before he could react, in just a moment, several Konoha ninjas appeared around him. He recognized the white-haired leader, who was the 2nd generation Hokage of Konoha, Senju Tobirama. "Don't mind me, Jing. We saw you using Susanoo and we came here. We are sorry to disturb you from showing your power." Sarutobi Hiruzen chuckled and explained the reason why they did not take action immediately after they arrived here. "I'm almost blind and still showing my power." To say that he is blind is definitely an exaggeration. However, his vision has indeed become a little blurry compared to before. The main Scheme Sharingan is strong, but its disadvantages are also obvious. I will try to make up for this weakness after returning to the village. As a disciple of Senju Tobirama, Uchiha does not want the other party to go blind so soon. So, now that cloning technology is becoming more and more mature, it is his next research direction to devote some energy to studying the main Kime Sharingan to make up for the problem of blindness caused by overuse of the eyes. By the way, teacher, speaking of Sharingan, should we let the old monkey ask Obito's opinion? He also has main Kime Sharingan, but when I saw him use Kime, his eyes didn't feel any discomfort. Does his main Kime Sharingan have no weakness? Your opinion is very good. When we go there in a few days, let Lin ask Obito. Seeing that his teacher and Kagami had finished talking, Shimura Danzo took advantage of the opportunity and looked at Kakuza and said with ill intentions. Kakuza, so many of us have come to invite you, which is enough to show Konoha's sincerity. So, do you want to accept our invitation? Kakuza cursed in his heart when he heard this. He lived well outside alone, one person's fullness fed the whole family, and he was free and happy. He wanted to join Konoha because he was full. However, from Shimura Danzo's malicious face, it can be seen that if he dared to say no, then it can be imagined that he would be greeted by the beating of Konoha's Tianqian. Can you tell me why you want me to join Konoha? I'm just a rebel ninja from a small ninja village. Kakuza didn't want to be tied down like this. This is the land of lightning after all, the territory of the Hidden Cloud Village. He and Kagami had such a fierce battle here just now, it would definitely attract the Cloud Ninjas from Izumo City. As long as he waits for the Cloud Ninjas to arrive here, maybe he can take advantage of the situation and escape. He had a good idea, but the people in Konoha were not fools. We can discuss these questions after you return to Konoha with us. Now we only have one question. Will you reject or accept Konoha's invitation? Facing the aggressive Shimura Danzo, Kakuza stood up straight, gritted his teeth, stomped his feet, and said fiercely, "Okay, I accept your invitation." What? Looking at your attitude just now, I thought you would choose to reject it. Danzo, don't talk too much. Kakuza is a companion of our village from now on. Senju Tobirama scolded Danzo for talking too much, then took out a Konoha forehead guard from his ninja tool bag and threw it to Kakuza. Kakuza also put it on his forehead without thinking. There is no time to lose, let's go back to Konoha first. As soon as Tobirama finished speaking, a rough and deep voice came from a distance. Everyone in Konoha, don't be in a hurry to leave. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw the Third Hokage leading a group of Cloud Ninjas rushing towards them. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 132 Tobirama. Your people have left, so I'm going to start calling for help. When heading to the land of lightning, Tobirama Senju was prepared to be discovered by the Cloud Ninja. Now that he saw the Cloud Ninja come in, and the Third Hokage leading the team himself, he was not panicked at all. Sister-in-law, you take them to retreat first, and leave this place to me. Before Uzumaki Mito could speak, Sarutobi Hiruzen, Shimura Danzo and other 6 disciples immediately expressed their disagreement. The situation at this time was too similar to the scene of Senju Tobirama's death in history. They were also chased by the Cloud Ninja. They were also left alone to cover the rear. The 6 disciples said they didn't want to retreat first. Idiots, you staying here is just tracking me down. Senju Tobirama also knew what they were worried about. After scolding them harshly, his tone immediately softened. Don't worry, I have Flying Thunder God with me. As long as you are safe, I can use Flying Thunder God to leave immediately. Teacher, let's go, it will be too late if we don't leave now. Teacher, take care of yourself. Sarutobi Hiruzen and others left, leaving only Senju Tobirama alone to cover the rear. To be honest, Tobirama Senju didn't think it would be dangerous to stay behind to cover the rear. After seeing how the 4th Hokage Minato Namikaze used the Flying Thunder God technique, he also made some improvements accordingly. The current Tobirama Senju can be seen as an enhanced version of Minato Namikaze. Hokage-sama, what are you doing rashly entering my land of lightning? The Third Hokage and his entourage came to Tobirama Senju, first signaling the Cloud Ninjas to send some people to chase the fleeing Konoha people, and then spoke. How about Hokage-sama, come back to the Hidden Cloud Village with us for a few days. That way we can show our hospitality. Tobirama Senju ignored the Cloud Ninjas who were chasing Sarutobi Hiruzen. It's not that he looked down on these people. As far as Hiruzen and others who have now entered their peak period are concerned, these cloud ninjas are just little karami in front of them. Not to mention, the retreating team also includes the elder sister-in-law, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and Kakuza, who has 4 hearts left. If it weren't for the fact that Konoha needed to develop in secret and in a low profile, these people alone would be enough to wipe out all the people brought by the Third Hokage. Lord Hokage, are you sure you can take me? How can you say that, Lord Hokage? I just simply want you to follow us back to the village. Although he said so, the Third Hokage's malice was almost overflowing. When he thought of the large amount of money and materials he paid to Konoha half a year ago, he was so angry that his teeth itched. He was thinking about revenge all the time. It would be fine if you, Senju Tobirama, had stayed in the land of fire, but now you have set foot on the land of lightning. If I, the Hokage, don't bring you back to the village, wouldn't it make me look like a waste? Lord Hokage, in order to avoid unnecessary sacrifice, I think you should surrender. Lord Hokage. Why? I have to say that persuading you to surrender is still a little too difficult for you. Unnecessary sacrifice? I think you were talking about you, the Cloud Ninja. The Third Hokage was furious when he heard this. He likes to be straightforward, so why would he talk nonsense? If it weren't for the fact that the man opposite was Tobirama Senju, and he was afraid that his subordinate would suffer losses, would he still be here to talk to Tobirama? Since Lord Hokage doesn't appreciate it, don't blame us for taking action. That's right, this is how we should be like Cloud Ninjas. After a light teasing, Tobirama Senju immediately took out many kunai with the Flying Thunder God mark from his ninja tool bag and scattered them around. The Third Hokage didn't care about these. He took the lead and releasing the lightning chakra, which greatly increased his speed. With just a flash, he came in front of Tobirama Senju, and smashed the opponent from top to bottom with his right fist. Boom. Facing the powerful punch of the Third Hokage, Tobirama Senju didn't resist it. Flying Thunder God was launched, and he came to the side of a Cloud Ninja. Without the presence of Tobirama Senju, the attack of the Third Hokage naturally fell through and fell heavily to the ground. With a kunai slashing his throat, Senju Tobirama successfully took away the Cloud Ninja next to him. Senju Tobirama. The Third Hokage roared, a little bit unable to accept that the other party killed one of his subordinates so easily. Don't worry, wait until I deal with them, it will be your turn next. Senju Tobirama ignored the roar of the Third Hokage. He used the instant teleportation ability of the Flying Thunder God technique, and every time he flashed, he could take away a Cloud Ninja. The Third Hokage was not really a fool. After several times in a row, he found that the position where Senju Tobirama flashed every time was the position where the special kunai was inserted. Everyone retreat. Discovering this, the Third Hokage immediately asked everyone to distance themselves from the special kunai. Did you find it? After killing another Cloud Ninja, Senju Tobirama was not in a hurry to continue. Because these Cloud Ninjas were already some distance away from the Flying Thunder God kunai. Even if he used the Flying Thunder God to flash over, the Third Hokage would have time to rush to rescue. After all, the speed of the Third Hokage was also very fast. In a small space, his speed was only a little slower than the instant movement. I won't let you kill my subordinate again. Really? Senju Tobirama's mouth curled up slightly, and he said calmly, then I'm leaving now, what can you do? After that, Senju Tobirama didn't pick up these Flying Thunder God kunai, and used the instant body technique to run away. Don't run. The Third Hokage was furious. He brought so many people here just to capture Senju Tobirama. As long as he succeeded, Konoha would spit back double the amount of them that they had eaten. Seeing that Senju Tobirama was about to run, he chased after him without thinking. At this time, Senju Tobirama flashed and came back, and started slaughtering the Cloud Ninjas who were still standing there in a daze. Senju Tobirama, you are so damn despicable. The Third Hokage found that he was deceived and hurried back. In just a short while, Senju Tobirama killed 4 Cloud Ninjas in succession. Look, I killed a few more Kamo Ninjas. What can you do to me? Assholes. All Kamo Ninjas, stay away from the battlefield. Leave this place to me. Lord Hokage. Get out of here. Amid the roar of the Third Hokage, the remaining Kamo Ninjas could only leave here unwillingly, leaving the venue to the Third Hokage and the Second Hokage. My people are gone, and your little tricks are no longer useful. Really? Senju Tobirama smiled disdainfully, and then looked at the Kamo Ninjas under his feet who he deliberately did not kill but just made unconscious. Your people are gone, but I have to start calling for help. As he said that, Senju Tobirama quickly formed seals with both hands. Imperial World Reincarnation Technique. A coffin was seen rising slowly from the ground in front of Tobirama. After a while, the coffin lid opened automatically, revealing the true appearance of the impure world body. Yo Tobirama, long time no see. Hearing this, Senju Tobirama smiled slightly and said, yes, long time no see, big brother. Chapter 133 Tobirama. Big brother, you go ahead, I'll slip away first. When Tobirama Senju, who had long black hair, wore a tight black combat uniform inside and a maroon layered armor outside, walked out of the coffin, the Third Hokage broke out in a cold sweat. A person's name is like a tree's shadow. The Third Hokage had never seen Tobirama Senju, the god of ninjas, in person, but he had heard a lot about him from the First Hokage and the Second Hokage. He overpowered Uchiha Madara and pacified the Land of Fire, thus speeding up the establishment of the other 4 major ninja villages. He also captured the tailed beasts and distributed them to the other ninja villages. The most terrifying thing was that in the battle between him and Uchiha Madara in the valley at the end, the entire terrain was destroyed by that battle, and a forest was turned into a valley. The Third Hokage really couldn't even imagine a battle that could change the terrain on such a large scale. So when he faced the god of ninjas head-on for the first time, he was immediately bluffed. One Senju Tobirama was already a difficult problem, and now there was another Senju Tobirama. Without help, the Third Hokage had already thought of retreating. Tobirama, you look much older. I must have been dead for quite a long time, right? Not bad, only 4 or 5 years. Is that so? Senju Tobirama pointed at the Third Hokage on the other side and continued, who is he? He is the Third Hokage. The Hidden Cloud village has been passed down to the 3rd generation, where is their 2nd generation? Dead, died at the hands of King Kaku and Ginkaku. So, what do you want to do by summoning me out? To help you fight? At this point, Senju Tobirama patted Tobirama's shoulder earnestly and said, brother, I'm already a dead man. If it is not a big deal, don't bother the dead. Senju Tobirama still recognized the strength of his younger brother Tobirama. Except for him and Uchiha Madara, he didn't think that Tobirama would lose to anyone else in a one-on-one battle. Even if we take a step back and say that Tobirama can't win, can't he still use the Flying Thunder God technique to run away? Originally, Tobirama Senju was very opposed to Tobirama's research on impure world reincarnation. Now he summoned a dead man without his life being in danger. Tobirama was a little dissatisfied with his younger brother. Fighting is secondary. The reason I summoned you out is because I want to discuss other things with you. Discuss with me. Tobirama waved his hand. Tobirama, you're already a mature Hokage. You can make your own decisions on anything. Tobirama looked at Tobirama with a strange look and asked, are you sure? Of course I am sure. You have more ideas than me. As long as you think it's right, as your elder brother, I will support you unconditionally. Okay, just say this, elder brother. After getting the affirmative answer from Tobirama Senju, Tobirama, who usually doesn't like to laugh, couldn't help but curl up the corners of his mouth and laughed. Okay, the main thing has been solved, so let's solve the secondary problem. After saying this, Tobirama Senju turned to the Third Hokage and said, oh, you should just run away. The Third Hokage clenched his fists and looked very angry. He was the Hokage of the Hidden Cloud village after all. Even if the opponent was the First Hokage, Tobirama Senju, he couldn't insult him like this. He didn't even fight, and he let him run away. It was obvious that Tobirama Senju looked down on him. He, the Third Hokage, had lived for so many years and had never suffered such an injustice. Tobirama Senju. Half a year ago the Third Hokage. Shut up. Hell stab. 4-pointed hand. The Third Hokage became more and more angry as he thought about it. He used the strongest attack move without any martial ethics, and turned into a flash of lightning and rushed towards Tobirama Senju. Tobirama Senju couldn't dodge in time, or maybe he didn't even want to dodge, and the 4-pointed hand directly pierced through Tobirama Senju's impure world body. Senju Tobirama was not an impure world body, and he was not immortal. When he found out that the Third Hokage intended to attack, he immediately dodged with Flying Thunder God. After a while, Senju Tobirama recovered, touched his chest that had been pierced, and exclaimed, this move is really powerful. It's because your body is too weak, big brother. With a whoosh, Senju Tobirama returned to Tobirama's side. It's really a bit poor. I can only exert about 30% of my strength. After feeling the strength that his body can exert, Senju Tobirama looked at Tobirama and said, what do you think? Do you want to kill him, or do you have other ideas? Tobirama shook his head and said, it will be very troublesome if he dies. Big brother, you just need to hold him back so that I can take the opportunity to retreat. Just hold him back. Then 30% of my strength should be enough. Okay, then big brother, you can play with him slowly, and I'll slip away first. Let's go. When the time is almost up, I will cancel the impure world reincarnation by myself. Understood. Senju Tobirama was not surprised at all that Senju Hashirama could cancel the impure world reincarnation by himself. Tobirama would be surprised if he said he couldn't cancel it. You're going too far. After destroying Senju Hashirama's impure world body with one shot, the Third Hokage thought that it would attract the attention of the two Hokages of Konoha. But what he didn't expect was that these two bastards not only didn't pay attention to him, but were chatting over there as if no one was around. And the content of their chat made him even more furious. What does it mean that Hashirama Senju at 30% of his strength can hold him back? According to this meaning, does Hashirama Senju at 40% of his strength mean that he can defeat himself? Hashirama Senju at 50% of his strength can kill himself? Hashirama Senju at 60% of his strength can crush himself? This is too ridiculous. Auntie can tolerate it, but uncle can't tolerate its Hell Thrust. 3 Penetrations Hell Thrust is a unique ninjutsu developed by the Third Hokage. The electric glug thrust during the attack can penetrate any defenser. In addition, after the number of fingers used is reduced, this technique will be more evolved, because the contact area will become smaller when the number of fingers used is reduced, so the power can be more concentrated, producing amazing penetration. This technique is the strongest attack technique of the Third Hokage, and is also called the strongest spear. Hashirama Senju's impure earth body was once again blown up by the Third Hokage. At this time, Tobirama Senju had already quietly slipped away using the Flying Thunder God technique. Sure enough, this move is very powerful. Hashirama Senju, who had recondensed into an impure world form, looked at the Third Hokage's finger with excitement. You have already made a move, now it's my turn. Wood release. Tree world birth. As Hashirama Senju clapped his hands, many trees quickly grew on the ground within 10 meters around. After these trees broke through the ground, they began to attack the Third Hokage. Is this the legendary wood release? The Third Hokage dodged the trees that attacked him and personally felt the power of this technique. It can only be said that the wood release that was praised as miraculous by the ninja world does not seem to be that good. It made him a little disappointed. Chapter 134. The Reluctant Third Hokage. That's it. That's it. That's it. The wood release known as the first bloodliner in the ninja world is just this. In the woods, the Third Hokage attacked with arrows left and right, smashing the trees that came to besiege him. Such fragile trees could not pose any threat to him at all. He really couldn't imagine how Hashirama Senju could pacify the Land of Fire with such a level of wood release. Could it be that the rest of the ninjas in the Land of Fire were a bunch of trash? The Third Hokage was undoubtedly a reckless man, but he would occasionally use his brain. Thinking of what Hashirama Senju said to Tobirama Senju about his 30% strength just now, and glancing at the broken wood around him, he suddenly became thoughtful. It seems that Hashirama Senju, who was reborn from the impure world reincarnation, has indeed lost too much strength. These rotten wood can't stop me at all. The Third Hokage moved his hands in a row, hitting the rotten wood while running quickly towards Hashirama Senju. Shine Hokage, if you can only display this much strength, then don't blame me for going after your brother, the Second Hokage. Not far away, Hashirama Senju heard the Third Hokage say this, and he also showed a bit of helplessness. The tree world descent with 30% of its strength is only this level. What can he do? He is just a pitiful and helpless impure world body. However, just because the tree world descent is not working doesn't mean that his other wood release ninjutsu is not working. Wood release. Wood clone technique. With another clap of his hands, Hashirama Senju created 10 wood release clones. As soon as these wood release clones appeared, they began to rush towards the Third Hokage. Don't forget that his physical skills are also very strong. Come on. The Third Hokage was attacking the trees with no strength in the woods, and was about to use the Nippon Conjure to rush to Hashirama Senju in one go, breaking the impure world body again to chase Tobirama Senju. He saw 10 Hashirama Senju, holding kunai and rushing towards him. Seeing this, he was excited and amused. With his current physical strength, he doesn't need to defend against a mere kunai. While he has the strongest spear, he also has the strongest shield. That is, his body. Swish. The fact is just as he thought. The kunai in the hands of the wood-style clones attacking him can't break his defense at all. At most, some white marks will appear. Relying on his strong body, the Third Hokage doesn't defend against these 10 wood-style clones. If the wood-style clone pokes him, he can seize the opportunity to destroy one of the wood-style clones. Seeing that this won't work, after losing 6 wood-style clones, the remaining 4 wood-style clones, 3 of which cooperated to contain the third Hokage, and the remaining 1 found the right opportunity and began to use wood-style ninjutsu. Wood-style cutting technique. In an instant, the arms of this wood-style clone began to grow sharp wooden spikes, which stabbed the third Hokage who had blown up 2 wood-style clones. Good news, the cutting technique stabbed the third Hokage. Bad news, this wood release still failed to break through the defense of the third Hokage. It's a pity that I can't fight you in your prime. You're only 30% of your strength, and I am no longer interested. After saying that, the third Hokage quickly beat the remaining 2 wood release clones into tree stumps. Then, he extended his index and middle fingers towards the impure world form of Senju Hashirama. Hell stab. Nehun Kanju in the wood, Senju Hashirama's perception ability was greatly enhanced. Seeing that the third Hokage used the hell stab again, he clapped his hands again. Wood release. Ranking technique. Suddenly, 2 wooden shields with fangs and ghost faces appeared on both sides of Senju Hashirama. Before the third Hokage arrived, he was wrapped in it. This move is the absolute defense of Senju Hashirama. He used this move to defend against the slash of Uchiha Madara's power equipment Susanoo, and the surface of the shield was unscathed. This time, facing the third Hokage's Nihon Kanju, he was also defended without any surprise. However, Hashirama Senju only hit 30% of his strength. While blocking the Nippon Kanti, a large number of cracks also appeared on the surface of the shield. As long as the third Hokage hit him again, he could break the shield. He did so. After a powerful punch, he successfully shattered the shield and saw the impure world form of Hashirama Senju inside. Snap lightning release shade could burst out, and the impure world form of Hashirama Senju was blown up again. Can the wood release of 30% of its strength block my Nippon Kanti? Standing in front of Hashirama Senju who was recovering, the third Hokage frowned at his right hand. Obviously, he was not very satisfied with his performance just now. The Nippon Kanti is the strongest attack besides the Nippon Kanti. Such a strong attack could not break the broken shield of the ranking technique. This is the wood release of Hashirama Senju at 30% of his strength. He dared not imagine how strong the wood release of Hashirama Senju would be in his prime. Can his Nippon Kanti break the ranking technique of 100%? The third Hokage thought that it seemed a bit difficult. What are you thinking about? The recovered Senju Hashirama saw that the third Hokage was in deep thought and did not launch an attack. Instead, he walked up to the third Hokage and looked at his right hand together. The third Hokage glanced at the serious and earnest Senju Hashirama, sighed and said, "If you were in your prime, I'm afraid I wouldn't be your opponent." Ha ha ha, so that's what you are thinking about. Senju Hashirama patted the third Hokage's shoulders a few times in a familiar manner, and said indifferently, "You think too much. No matter how strong I was when I was alive, I'm still dead now. You're open-minded. So what if you can't? Anyway, I'm already a dead man." He moved away a few steps calmly to avoid Senju Hashirama's dirty hands, and the third Hokage said listlessly, "Forget it, I'm going back to the village." Huh. Looking at the third Hokage who suddenly lost interest, Senju Hashirama shook his head and said, "Aren't you going to fight anymore? What a fart." Speaking of this, the third Hokage seemed very irritable. "I can't break the immortal body of the impure world body, I can't fucking kill you." Stamping his feet fiercely, the third Hokage said again, "With your brother's speed, he might have almost run to the border. The ninjas I sent to chase his disciples haven't come back yet, and they probably won't come back. Isn't it a waste of time to continue fighting?" Ha ha, I think you're right. Senju Hashirama laughed and continued, "Since we don't want to fight anymore, I'll go back to the Pure Land first. Goodbye." "Goodbye, I don't want to see you again." Ha ha, as long as you're happy. Senju Hashirama reversed the hand seal of the impure world reincarnation, and soon his soul began to leave the impure world body and began to ascend to heaven. As his soul left, the impure world body gradually turned into a pile of things like confetti. Looking at the direction where Senju Tobirama fled, the unwilling third Hokage said viciously, "Despicable guy, let's wait and see." Third Hokage. "Humph, asking your big brother to fight for you, what a skill." Senju Tobirama. "You can also ask." "Okay, I forgot, you don't have a big brother, ha ha ha." The third Hokage. 05205. Chapter 135 Return. Not far from the border of the Land of Lightning, Sarutobi Hiruzen and his men had just killed the cloud ninja who came to chase them, when Senju Tobirama appeared in front of them with a whoosh. "Teacher, your Flying Thunder God technique is really useful. If you want to learn it, I can teach you." As he said that, Senju Tobirama came behind Sarutobi Hiruzen and wiped off the flying thunder god mark behind him with a wipe of his right hand. Forget it, this technique is too difficult to learn. I don't think I can learn it. It's up to you. If you want to learn it, you can come to me anytime. After saying this, Senju Tobirama looked at Shinyura Danzo and others and said, you too, if you want to learn Flying Thunder God, I will teach you after we return to the village. Compared with the self-knowledge of Sarutobi Hiruzen, Okimichi Tofu and others, Shinyura Danzo seemed much more conceited. Thank you, teacher. After we return to the village, please teach me more. Don't worry, I will. Under the leadership of Senju Tobirama, everyone quickly left the land of lightning and stepped into the land of fields. On the way, Senju Tobirama found Sarutobi Hiruzen and asked, is Kakuza still behaving? He should be fine. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded and continued, when the pursuit ninjas of the Cloud Ninja caught up with us, Mr. Kakuza should have wanted to leave the team, but before he started to act, Mito-sama burst out some nine-tails chakra. We quickly dealt with these Cloud Ninjas together, and then you, the teacher, came. Okay, I got it. Senju Tobirama nodded. In his opinion, it was normal for Kakuza to want to leave the team. Especially when he, the second generation Hokage, was not there. Kakuza could not beat him with only Kagami and Sarutobi Hiruzen and others, and he could still run away if he wanted to. Maybe Uzumaki Mito also guessed Kakuza's plan, so he burst out some nine-tails chakra, which made Kakuza give up the idea of escaping. After all, no matter how fast you run, can you be as fast as the tailed beast ball? Kakuza cherishes his life so much that he will definitely not joke about his own life. Teacher, can you tell me how you dealt with the Third Hokage? Sarutobi Hiruzen's words aroused everyone's interest. They also wanted to know how Senju Tobirama dealt with the Third Hokage, the reckless man. I didn't deal with him. Ah? Then aren't you afraid that he will continue to chase us? No, because I summoned my eldest brother and let him play with him. Senju Tobirama's eldest brother. Isn't that the first Hokage Senju Hashirama? You summoned Hashirama? Reincarnation? Yes. Uzumaki Mito approached Senju Tobirama calmly and asked rather awkwardly. You shouldn't have told him about me. Thinking back to the past, after Uzumaki Mito married Senju Hashirama, she had always shown herself as Yamato no Chiko, and was the perfect wife in the eyes of others. Until half a year ago, she followed Senju Tobirama to the land of lightning and killed the two brothers Kinkaku and Ginkaku, and then she restored her nature before getting married. She was really worried that her nature would be known by Hashirama. Don't worry, sister-in-law, I didn't mention you to brother. Is that so? That's good. But, facing the relieved Mito, Senju Tobirama thought for a while and said to her, it should not be long before I can completely revive brother. At the time, sister-in-law, will you continue to pretend to be the Yamato Nachiko in the eyes of brother, or stay like you are now? It's up to you. What, Hashirama is about to be resurrected? How come you are progressing so fast? Those who can enter the Hokage's office naturally know what Senju Tobirama will use cloning technology for. It's not particularly surprising to hear that he wants to revive Senju Hashirama. It's just that Mito is a little puzzled. She asked Tobirama some time ago. Obviously, because of the problem of Hashirama cells, the development of the clones is not very smooth. It's only been a few days since he turned around, and he has found a way to suppress Hashirama cells. Yes, if things go well, it will probably take about 1 or 2 months. Kagami's cells have let Senju Tobirama know that it is feasible to use Uchiha to balance and neutralize Hashirama's cells. It's just a pity that Jin's cells are not strong enough, and the cloned body is still a little weak. If he can get Uchiha Madara's cells, he should be able to perfectly solve this problem. He believes that the Third Hokage will not let him down. In 2 days, he will be able to go there and get Uchiha Madara's cells. If I heard correctly, you want to revive the first Hokage. The topic between Mito and Tobirama was over, but Kakuza had a lot of questions. When he heard Tobirama summon Hashirama and asked the latter to help him resist the Third Hokage, his heart couldn't help but be shaken. Later, he heard that Senju Hashirama would be completely resurrected in a month or 2. Kakuza couldn't help it anymore. He knew very well how strong Senju Hashirama was. After all, he couldn't even beat the opponent's wooden clone. If Senju Hashirama hadn't valued talent at the time, there would probably be no Kakuza now. Yes, I know you have a lot of questions. When we return to Konoha, I will answer them one by one. Okay. Kakuza nodded. The situation was stronger than the person, so he could not ask too much. He could only hope that after arriving in Konoha, Senju Tobirama would be able to answer his questions. 2 days later, when Senju Tobirama and others returned to Konoha, almost the entire ninja world knew that the Third Hokage had failed to steal the chicken. He wanted to intercept, capture, and take Konoha's Second Hokage, but he was killed by many cloud ninjas. It was really a loss. At the same time, many people also knew that the reason why the Second Hokage went to the Land of Lightning was to capture a traitor named Kakuza. Everyone was speculating how this traitor had offended Konoha and let the Hokage let the team to capture him. What a big sin this was. In general, Kakuza became famous in the entire ninja world in an inexplicable way. The news spread so fast. After returning to Konoha, Senju Tobirama and others took a little rest, and then traveled to the Third Hokage and successfully got a rib of Uchiha Madara. After traveling back, a Nanbu member immediately informed Senju Tobirama about what happened in the past 2 or 3 days. Mr. Kakuza, what do you think? In the Hokage's office, Senju Tobirama promised to explain Kakuza's doubts, and he did not break his promise. After sealing the ribs, he called Kakuza. I don't have any opinion. Is that so? Senju Tobirama thought for a while, looked at Kakuza seriously, and continued. Originally, I wanted to arrange for you to be a ninja instructor for a while, and strengthen the training of a group of chunin in the village. Now, Mr. Kakuza's identity as a traitor has been exposed, and it is not easy for him to appear in the village openly, so, Chapter 136 Tobirama. What a sin. So, what do you want to do with me, Hokage? Mr. Kakuza, you have to be a squad leader in the Yanbu first. This way, you don't have to worry about exposing your identity, and you can continue to do what you like, Mr. Kakuza. Haha, why don't I know that there are things I like? I'm talking about making money. Don't you like making money, Mr. Kakuza? Hearing this, Kakuza's mood instantly became gloomy. When he was single, the money he earned was his own. Now that he has joined Konoha, who knows whose money it will belong to? It would be strange if he was in a good mood. Don't worry, Mr. Kakuza. The village won't take a penny of the money you earned during your time in the Yanbu. However, you still need to take out a portion and share it with your teammates. It's up to you how much to share. Okay, I understand. What do you want me to do? Of course, the same as always, go to the underground exchange offers and earn bounties. Question mark. Seeing Kakuza's puzzled look, Senju Tobirama's mouth curled up slightly. I just want you as a person. As for what you do after joining Konoha, I won't interfere with you. Kakuza understood. In the end, Senju Tobirama just needed his fighting power. If Konoha went to war with others, he would need to help Konoha. Normally, he would be free. Okay, I agree. Okay. Senju Tobirama stood up and stretched out his right hand to Kakuza. Welcome Mr. Kakuza to join Konoha. Kakuza also stood up and shook hands with Senju Tobirama expressionlessly. Okay, Mr. Kakuza, do you still have some questions about resurrecting my elder brother? Yes, can Hokage tell me? No problem, come with me, I'll take you there with Flying Thunder God. Senju Tobirama patted Kakuza on the back and took him to his laboratory in an instant. At the same time, he took the opportunity to mark Kakuza with the Flying Thunder God mark. Are you kidding? You want to run away after joining Konoha? Not possible. With the Flying Thunder God mark, even if Kakuza wants to leave Konoha, Tobirama can find him in the first place. Look, this is the laboratory where I resurrected my elder brother. Standing in a huge glass jar, Senju Tobirama pointed to the clone inside. At this time, the clone, which is mainly composed of Hashirama cells and supplemented by Kagami cells, has grown to about 15 years old. From the face, it is enough for Kakuza to tell who is cloned inside. This is the body I carefully prepared for my elder brother. As long as this body matures, I can put my elder brother's soul into this body, and then my elder brother will be truly resurrected. Looking at the clone in the jar, Kakuza's eyes flashed with light. In other words, Hokage-sama, as long as you want, you can resurrect anyone. Yes, as long as I have that person's body tissue cells, I can resurrect him. If that's the case, can I do it too? Kakuza didn't say it clearly, but his meaning was very clear. If he died accidentally, he also wanted Tobirama to resurrect him. Of course, I will not treat the meritorious ministers who sacrificed for Konoha unfairly. Haha, then thank you, Hokage-sama. Originally, Kakuza was not very opposed to working for Konoha. Now that he knows that he can be resurrected, he is even less opposed. Just ask, which force in the ninja world can resurrect the dead at all like Konoha? Without the worry of death, Kakuza can already imagine how brave the ninjas of Konoha will be on the battlefield. Until this time, he began to feel lucky. He was lucky to have joined Konoha. He didn't want to face an enemy without the threat of death. He knew best how terrifying this kind of enemy was. Because he was such a person. 5 hearts, 5 lives, this ability made him immortal in front of ordinary ninjas. Of course, this immortality was only pseudo-immortality. If Senju Tobirama was not fooling him, he could be called a real immortal now. Anyway, he could be resurrected after death. There was nothing wrong with immortality. After talking with Kakuza, Senju Tobirama sent him out. When Kakuza was incorporated into the Konoha and tomorrow, he would be a real Konoha ninja. Now, let me see if Uchiha Madara's cells are effective. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, it was time to watch the light screen video again. During this time, Kakuza perfectly adapted to the identity of a Konoha ninja. In the environment of the Anbu, where one needs to hide one's identity, he can be said to be like a fish in water. With the intelligence and helpers from Konoha, he could find and kill the target at the fastest speed every time. The underground money exchange in a small town in the Land of Fire was almost emptied by him, forcing the person in charge of this money exchange to urgently transfer some money from money exchange in other cities, otherwise the century-old reputation of the underground money exchange would be ruined by this person in charge. At the same time, the experiment of cloning Hashirama Senju was also very successful. Tobirama Senju used the weakened Hashirama cells and normal Hashirama cells from White Zetsu, respectively, and combined them with Uchiha Madara's cells to clone 2 clones with normal development. There was just one thing that bothered him. The clone that used normal Hashirama cells had a human face inexplicably appearing on the right chest surface. Because the clone was still young, Tobirama did not recognize whose face it was. But he already had a guess. This body also used Uchiha Madara's cells, so the appearance of this human face was most likely Uchiha Madara. With this understanding, Tobirama Senju was very upset. I don't know whether I'm lamenting the bad fate between my elder brother and Madara, or complaining about the complicated friendship between the two. What a sin. Fortunately, the clone that uses the weakened version of Hashirama cells does not have this face. Compared with the normal clone, the physical data of this weakened clone is slightly worse. If the normal clone can perfectly exert the strength of Hashirama Senju, and even because of the addition of Uchiha Madara's cells, it may even exceed it. Then this weakened version can only exert 90% of Hashirama Senju's strength, and as this body continues to develop, there is a possibility that it will continue to decline. For this reason, he can only wait for these 2 bodies to mature and let his elder brother choose them personally. The Third Hokage. After a series of experiments and adjustments by Orochimaru, the clones of the 4th Hokage and his wife and Hitachi Seikuma have matured. As long as he gets the consent of the 3rd Hokage and Jiraiya, he can revive them. Let's talk after we finish watching the video on the light screen. The 3rd Hokage smacked his cigarette holder, glanced at Naruto who was arguing with Sasuke, sighed and thought to himself, I don't know if my old bones can withstand Kushina's anger. Chapter 137. The 9th issue character review. Hi, dear audience, hello, I'm the new Lin Tian. In the last 2 issues, we discussed the immortal duo in the Akatsuki organization. In this issue today, we will continue to discuss the characters in the Akatsuki organization. Akatsuki Suzaku, Uchiha Itachi. On the screen, Tian is discussing Uchiha Itachi's personal resume. Under the screen, Uchiha Sasuke clenched his hands and gritted his teeth at Itachi on the screen. Even though he now knows that there is another hidden reason for the extermination of the clan, it is undeniable that Itachi's hands are indeed stained with the blood of his clan members. Relax Sasuke, you are not Itachi's opponent now. Seeing that Sasuke's expression was a little wrong, Orochimaru immediately spoke to calm Sasuke's emotions. I know. Taking a deep breath, Sasuke quickly adjusted himself and continued to look at the screen with a cold expression. On the other hand, the 3rd Hokage, who was already in a complicated mood because of the resurrection of Minato and his wife, felt even more complicated when he saw that the character in this issue was Uchiha Itachi. He knew very well how Itachi killed his family, how he defected from Konoha, and how he became a secret spy. Looking at the cold Sasuke, and then at Naruto who still knew nothing, the 3rd Hokage couldn't help but sigh again. Old man, do you regret it a little? The 3rd Hokage ignored the words of the 5th Jiraiya, while cleaning his pipe and looking at the light curtain. Seeing that the 3rd Hokage ignored him, the 5th Jiraiya didn't care, he continued. Don't you see what you did back then? Okay Jiraiya. At this time, the third Hokage still interrupted Jiraiya. Things have already happened, is there any use in regretting? The fifth Jiraiya opened his mouth. He wanted to say that you can make some compensation to Naruto and Sasuke. But when he thought that he was not involved, he had no right to blame the third Hokage, so he shut up immediately. During the Third Ninja World War, Itachi, who was only 4 years old, witnessed the horror of war. For him, who experienced war at a young age, war was hell. The trauma of the Third War made Uchiha Itachi hate war and want to be a peace-loving child. When the Nine-Tails Rebellion broke out in Konoha village, the 5-year-old Itachi was alone at home, protecting his infant brother Sasuke. Speaking of Itachi, we have to mention the Uchiha clan with beautiful pupils. The boys and girls produced by this clan are all nuclear weapons. There is also a young genius who is as famous as Itachi, named Uchiha Shisui. It just so happens that the two are close friends. When Itachi was in school, the two were secretly together. They were chatting together secretly. Uchiha Shisui, what a pity for this man. When thinking of Shisui's death, even Orochimaru couldn't help but sigh. Orochimaru, do you know how Shisui died? Sasuke had a vague impression of Shisui. He only vaguely remembered that Shisui would often come to his house to find Itachi, and would tease him for a while every time he came. Other than that, he had no memory of Shisui. He should have been killed by Danzo. Danzo? Why is it Danzo again? He has done so many bad things, and the village doesn't care. At this point, Sasuke thought of the annihilation of his family. And in this matter, Danzo's figure was also indispensable. Hehe, you need to find the answer yourself. Orochimaru licked his lips and did not give Sasuke a direct answer. Behind many of Danzo's actions, there is more or less the shadow of the third Hokage. Orochimaru does not believe that the third Hokage is not aware of what Danzo did. As a Hokage, if he is not aware of the affairs of his subordinates, he is incompetent. Compared with incompetence, he is still willing to believe that the third Hokage is concerned about the friendship between him and Danzo. It can only be said that the old third Hokage was indeed indecisive and ignored Danzo and did many wrong things. Ultimately, Danzo embarked on a road of no return, and the third Hokage's own reputation was ruined. Once Itachi met Shisui in the grove, and Shisui wondered why he skipped classes. In fact, Itachi left a shadow clone in the school. This move is undoubtedly what most truants dream of. Obviously, the education of the ninja school can no longer satisfy Uchiha Itachi. Because he was too outstanding, the 7-year-old Itachi graduated from the ninja school with the first place in the school. But in fact, as early as the age of 6, he had the ability to get a diploma. However, the school wanted to charge an extra year of textbook fees, so it had to be postponed for 1 year. Laughs, this junior named Itachi is very outstanding, but I don't know if he can break Kakashi's record of becoming a Chunin at the age of 12. In the Tobirama office, Uchiha Kagama has complicated feelings for Itachi. Emotionally, Uchiha Itachi was the executioner who destroyed the Uchiha family and the main culprit of the destruction of the family. But rationally, he was very happy that such a genius descendant appeared in the family. Kakashi became a Chunin at the age of 12, which had a lot to do with the fact that it was still during the Ninja War. After Itachi graduated from the ninja school, the 3 wars were probably over. It was not so easy to become a Chunin if it was not during the Ninja War. Sarutobi Hiruzen's words were unanimously recognized by everyone. In their opinion, Kakashi's becoming a Chunin at the age of 12 was somewhat exaggerated. Judging from the results of the Kanobi Bridge, Kakashi's strength should have reached the threshold of a Chunin, but in other aspects, he was not qualified. Anyway, Itachi was already a genius to graduate from the ninja school at the age of 7. Yeah, if he was not a genius, it would not be possible for him to become a Chunin many years later. Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen glared at Danzo fiercely, signaling him to stop talking nonsense. Danzo also realized this, and after looking at his glasses with a hint of apology, he looked at Hiruzen again and glared back fiercely. Sarutobi Hiruzen. Damn it, you still dare to glare at me. Shimura Danzo. Why shouldn't I dare glare at you? Do you think you are still my best friend? Sarutobi Hiruzen. Ha, keep glaring at me, I'll see if you can glare out a pair of Sharingan. Shimura Danzo. It is worth mentioning that many people are criticizing the words of the third Hokage when he evaluated Itachi. He said, when Itachi was 7 years old, he could think like a Hokage. In the extreme world of the ninja world, it is reasonable to make such an evaluation. There is no conflict between being young and thinking deeply. Tell me honestly, old man, when you evaluated Itachi like this, did you intend to flatter Itachi and stabilize the Uchiha clan? Chapter 138 Uchiha Itachi Half and Half. After taking a puff of cigarette, the third Hokage continued calmly. At the time, the Uchiha clan was actually very restless. There was Uchiha Shinsei in front and Uchiha Itachi in the back. The emergence of these two geniuses further fueled the arrogance of the radicals. At the same time, I really admired Itachi. In order to appease and suppress the Uchiha clan, I had to do this. Think about it from another perspective. The fifth Hokage Jiraiya felt that if he were in the third Hokage's situation, he would probably do the same. There are two benefits to doing so. The first benefit is that it appeased the Uchiha clan. The third Hokage commented that Itachi had the thinking of a Hokage. Does that mean that Itachi has a chance to become a Hokage? No matter what others think, there must be such an idea within the Uchiha clan. Since Itachi has the qualifications to be a Hokage, why would they rebel? Rebelling against themselves. Isn't this a problem? It can be said that once the next Hokage candidate is not determined, the Uchiha clan will most likely not rebel in order to make Itachi become Hokage. In this way, the third Hokage bought a lot of time to regulate the Uchiha clan. The second benefit is that it further put the Uchiha clan in opposition to other clans. Originally, the Uchiha clan did not have a good relationship with the other clans in Konoha. Now that they know that the Uchiha clan may produce a Hokage, won't the other clans explode? For the benefit of the clan, these people will definitely find ways to prevent Uchiha Itachi from becoming Hokage, so as to prevent him from settling accounts with these clans after he takes office. This move of changing flowers and jades transformed the conflict between the village and the Uchiha clan into a conflict between the Uchiha clan and other clans. The third Hokage really played this hand very well. It's just a pity that this operation was ruined by the idiot Danzo. Otherwise, perhaps the Uchiha clan would not be exterminated. Just like the mirror of time and space in Tobirama, after cleaning up the radicals, the remaining Uchiha clans are nothing to be afraid of. After all, most of the Uchiha clans are still very satisfied with their lives in Konoha. Danzo is such an idiot. I don't know why you, old man, have tolerated him for so many years. The third Hokage rolled his eyes at the fifth Jiraiya and said nothing. The fifth Jiraiya snorted and did not continue to ask. Itachi witnessed the death of his teammates at the age of 8 and successfully opened the Sharingan. He passed the tuning exam alone at the age of 10. He joined the Anbu at the age of 11. Itachi was influenced by Shinsei. As a ninja, he has been doing his best for the village since he was a child. After joining the Anbu, his talent was recognized by the captain, Kakashi Hatake, and he was also influenced by some positive ideas of Kakashi. Because the promotion routes and systems of the Yanbu and normal ninjas are different, in the work Naruto, the youngest Chunin is still our chakra measurement unit. Kakashi Hatake. What do you mean? When did I become a chakra measurement unit? Under the light curtain, Kakashi listened to what Tien said and felt very puzzled. Most likely you, Kakashi, are too weak, resulting in insufficient chakra, so I use you as the unit of chakra measurement. Kakashi looked at Ashuma with a little resentment. It's as if your chakra is much more than mine. Even if it's a little more, it's still a lot. Ashuma was very happy. He found that he was finally better than Kakashi in one aspect. That is, his chakra is definitely more than Kakashi's. This is really not easy. From childhood to adulthood, he has always lived in Kakashi's shadow. Fighting, he can't beat him. Taking exams, he can't pass him. Even his appearance is not as good as Kakashi's. This is indeed too cruel for the second son of the patriarch of the Sarutobi family. Now, he also has one thing that Kakashi can't compare to. No, it should be two. Thinking of this, Ashuma put his arm around Yuzukyone's shoulders and raised his head to Kakashi. The meaning couldn't be more obvious. Ashuma, I have a girlfriend, do you? Kakashi subconsciously looked at Lin. Kakashi, what's wrong? Kakashi. Nothing. Just keep looking at the screen. Oh. Kakashi found it a little funny. When did he become so childish that he even wanted to compete with Ashuma in this? But if Ashuma didn't let him feel comfortable, then he wouldn't feel comfortable either. It's not easy for you either. Kakashi stared at Ashuma for 2 seconds, then sighed and patted his shoulder. This gesture immediately made Ashuma dumbfounded. What are you talking about? What's not easy for me? Hey, don't turn your head away. What do you mean? Tell me clearly. The more anxious Ashuma became, the less Kakashi spoke. He even left Ashuma's side and walked between Sasuke and Naruto. Damn, Kakashi definitely did it on purpose. Okay, stop being a little sulky and look at the screen. Okay, I'll listen to my wife. Don't talk nonsense about who your wife is. Hey, whoever's next to me is my wife. Hateful. Nohara Rin was completely numb. She was originally standing next to Kakashi. But Kakashi went to Sasuke and Naruto, leaving her alone here to eat a mouthful of dog food. Without saying a word, Nohara Rin also slipped away and stood next to Kakashi again. After Itachi joined the Anbu, due to his outstanding talent, he was seconded to the Anbu where Shinguru Danzo was, that is, the root. At this time, he served as a bridge for the Uchiha clan to communicate with the village, and played a double agent for Konoha and Uchiha. Konoha has long isolated the Uchiha clan on the grounds of establishing a police force. The Uchiha clan members who were dissatisfied with this policy decided to launch a coup, attempting to coerce Uchiha Itachi's father, Uchiha Fuku, and wanted to compete for the clan's position in the village under his leadership. After the Nine-Tails rebellion in the village, the Konoha high-level officials, especially Danzo, suspected that the rebellion was caused by the family with beautiful contact lenses. So, under the strong suggestion of Danzo, who was obsessed with beautiful contact lenses, the areas where the Uchiha clan members were located were monitored in shifts for 24 hours. A side note, the staff who took shifts to monitor were probably cursing Danzo in their hearts. After all, this job was not easy to do, and it was very dangerous. If you were not careful, you might die. Back to the point, before the coup broke out, Uchiha Shisuyu went to see the Third Hokage and planned to observe Uchiha Fuku's attitude at the Uchiha clan meeting. If the coup could not be stopped, the strongest illusion, Kotao Matsukamai, would be used to control him and prevent the rebellion. I feel that Shisuyu's method is still feasible. Indeed, if we control the clan leader, use his status and position, plus the deterrence of Shisuyu's own Mange-Kime Sharingan, it is possible to eliminate this coup. But why did the Uchiha clan still get exterminated in the end? In Tobirama's office, everyone was discussing the feasibility of Shisuyu's method. As they talked, everyone fell silent, and then looked at Shinguru Danzo tacitly. Danzo. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 139. Shisuyu. Itachi, did you misunderstand what I said? What do you mean? Do you think that Uchiha Shisuyu's failure was caused by me? No, by the old me. Danzo's expression was very angry, as if these people were all wronging him. Besides, what the old version of Danzo did had nothing to do with him, the young version. Danzo, you know we have no ill intentions. It's because that Danzo over there has done so many bad things and didn't do any human work. It's normal for us to have such doubts. Yes, even Shisuyu's Mange-Kime was taken away by Danzo over there for his own use. It's hard for us not to suspect that it was him who did it. Danzo understood that he was taking the blame for his old self. But he was still very unhappy. He obviously didn't do these bad things. Why did these people in front of him look at him when they saw something bad happening? Isn't this bullying an honest person? Humph, I tell you again, I'm not him. Don't blame me for the bad things he did. Maybe seeing that Danzo was really angry, everyone smiled awkwardly, skipped this topic, and continued to look at the light screen. On the screen, Shisuyu is reporting to the Third Hokage and Shinguru Danzo about the power of his Mange-Kime Sharingan. Danzo pretends not to believe in such a ridiculous Mange-Kime power, but secretly covets Shisuyu's rare beautiful eyes. After a series of despicable operations, Danzo got what he wanted. Everyone in Tobirama's office. See, I told you it was that bastard Danzo. Danzo. After Shisuyu lost his right eye, he entrusted his left eye to Itachi, and told Itachi to use it for peace, to stop the Uchiha coup, and to keep his affairs secret, and finally jumped into the river and committed suicide. Uchiha Itachi witnessed Shisuyu committing suicide and successfully opened the Mange-Kime Sharingan. Due to Shisuyu's death and the fact that Uchiha Itachi did not attend the night party held by the family, the Uchiha clan members suspected that Shisuyu was killed by Itachi, and some people suspected that it was the top leaders of Konoha. However, no matter what, Shisuyu's death undoubtedly caused great damage to the Uchiha clan, and also destroyed the pie that the Third Hokage had drawn for the Uchiha clan. At this moment, the Uchiha clan abandoned the pie drawn by the Third Hokage and decided to launch a coup. So, Danzo really deserves to die. This coup could have been avoided. In the Tobirama office, Kagami looked at the family that was about to end on the screen, and he became more and more angry. Just as he said, if Danzo had not intervened to kill Shisui, perhaps the members of the family would still be immersed in the plight that the Third Hokage had drawn for them. With the skills shown by the Third Hokage, he would definitely be able to handle the affairs of the Uchiha clan in the next few years or even more than 10 years. The result was that Danzo coveted Shisui's Mangekyo, which led to the end of the Uchiha clan. Kagami's words made the young Danzo very dissatisfied, and he turned his head and looked at him with a little anger. "Sorry, I'm not talking about you." Danzo knew that Kagami was not talking about him, he just wanted Kagami's attitude. Seeing Kagami waving his hand to apologize, Danzo turned his head back. Itachi reported the situation to the top leaders of Konoha. Among the top leaders present, the third generation insisted on resolving the Uchiha coup through peaceful negotiations, but because things were too late to change, in the end, Itachi had to buy some time for himself. In fact, for the third generation and even the entire Konoha top leaders, there was no other way except to annihilate the Uchiha clan. After the meeting, Danzo found Uchiha Itachi and asked Uchiha Itachi to exterminate the entire clan in exchange for the life of Itachi's younger brother, what is Bei, and keep it secret from Sasuke. Itachi, as a traitor, collected information that was unfavorable to Konoha in the entire ninja world. In order to protect the village from other countries taking advantage of the situation, and for Shisui's and his brother's life, Itachi accepted the task of exterminating the clan after weighing and tormenting. On the night of the coup, Itachi and Obito teamed up to exterminate the Uchiha clan. Shisui. Itachi, did you misunderstand? I asked you to stop the family coup, and this is how you stopped it. Itachi. Kill all the family members. Without people, there'll naturally be no coup. Shisui. I understand. On the Third Hokage side, Uchiha Sasuke could no longer control his emotions. The scene on the screen brought him back to the nightmare moment of the year. The wailing of the clan members, the death of his parents, and his brother stained with the blood of the clan members. All these scenes stimulated Sasuke. Uchiha Obito was also involved in this. Just when Orochimaru thought Sasuke was about to explode, Sasuke suddenly calmed down. Just from his bloodshot eyes, you can see how much pain he is enduring. I really don't know that. Really? I don't believe that there is something in Konoha that you, Orochimaru, don't know. Sasuke-kun, you think too highly of me. I'm just a human being, not an omniscient and omnipotent god. Humph. Sasuke snorted coldly, then looked at Kakashi and Nohara Rin beside him. I know you want Obito to return to Konoha. If you fail, I will definitely kill him. Kakashi and Rin looked at each other and felt that the matter immediately became difficult. Since Sasuke became Orochimaru's disciple, everyone has seen his progress. Kakashi estimated that in a few years, Sasuke's strength will surpass him. By the time, if Obito has not returned to Konoha, he may not be able to persuade Sasuke. And as Sasuke's best friend, will Naruto remain indifferent when he sees Sasuke go up? If Naruto goes to help, will Orochimaru and others stand behind them and watch instead of taking action? Facing Sasuke, Naruto, the possible Minato couple, the Fuku couple, Orochimaru, Jiraiya and others, Kakashi could only pray to the heavens, so that Obito could die without pain and in peace. Rin, you have to hurry up and persuade Obito to come back. Yeah, I understand, Kakashi. Hectares, Obito is really a troublemaker. Why is he everywhere? He was involved in the Nine Tails Rebellion where the fourth Hokage and his wife died, and he was also involved in the Uchiha clan extermination. I just don't understand, what did Konoha do to him, why do they hate Konoha so much? In the Tobirama office, everyone was discussing Uchiha Obito in a low voice. They also didn't understand where Obito got such a big hatred for Konoha. Was it because Kakashi killed Rin? Or was it because Minato Namikaze's 2 rescues were not timely? Wait, if Obito is a troublemaker, then what was the Konoha ninja at the time? Little Jiraiya's words silenced everyone who was discussing heatedly. After a while, Sarutobi Hiruzen said with a twitch of his mouth. Well, let's not discuss this topic for now, let's continue watching the light screen. Oh, right. The inventory video is only once a month, don't waste it, watch it carefully. Oh, right. Chapter 149. The massacre of the clan has indeed become a matter of public criticism. From this point of view, the steady Itachi also has times when he can't help himself. It's too one-sided to focus too much on the harm of the knife and forget the character of the knife holder. The poisonous fruit planted by Konoha itself was removed by Uchiha Itachi's knife, and then given to Sasuke as if nothing had happened, and everything was attributed to the knife, Uchiha Itachi's fault. After the incident, only Naruto followed Sasuke's ass wholeheartedly, crying and shouting to help him wash his stomach, while others wanted to poison Sasuke to death. The third Hokage was embarrassed. But whether this was his original intention, the final result was like this. He looked at Sasuke quietly, wondering how Sasuke would react after hearing what the light curtain said. Unexpectedly, Sasuke was not angry or furious, but his face was as calm as a lake, looking at the third Hokage. The two of them looked at each other passionately. At this moment, Sasuke sneered and took the initiative to say, "I know, this is all Danzo's fault, right?" Hearing Sasuke's words, the third Hokage became even more embarrassed. But he had no choice but to pretend to be calm and nodded, yes, it's all Danzo's fault." Hehe. With a disdainful smile, Sasuke did not hold the third Hokage, but looked at Naruto, and said to himself with a complicated expression, "This idiot. Who do you think is the real murderer in the genocide incident? I think it's Danzo. Don't look at me, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about Danzo over there." After hearing the question from Mr. Tobirama, Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately gave his answer. "Humph, I think it's the third Hokage. Hiruzen, you know, I'm not talking about you either, after all, you are not the third Hokage." Danzo was not to be outdone and gave his own answer. "What about Uchiha Itachi? It was Itachi who really killed people, right? Why don't you talk about him?" Hiruzen and Danzo looked at the mirror and pointed at the light curtain. What they meant was self-evident. Well, it's all said on the screen that Itachi is just a knife. For example, if K uses a knife to kill B, if C wants revenge, shouldn't he go to A instead of the knife? But the problem is that Uchiha Itachi is a human being. He is not a knife without thoughts. He can also think, he needs to sleep, and he can even eat. Have you ever seen such a vivid knife? Utate Kahara and Mitomonom have different opinions. Kahara believes that Itachi is just a knife that obeys orders, and the real murderer must be the village leaders who issued the orders. And Ong's opinion is the opposite of Kahara. He believes that Itachi is indeed a knife, but it is indeed a knife with its own thoughts. If you really want to list the murderers, Itachi should be listed. In short, the 6 disciples of Tobirama have different opinions on the real murderer who destroyed Uchiha. So, teacher, what do you think? None of the 6 disciples could convince each other, so they could only return the question to Tobirama, wanting to hear what the teacher would say. If you ask me, all the participants are murderers. The third Hokage is the murderer, Danzo is the murderer, Uchiha Itachi is the murderer, Uchiha Obito is also the murderer, and even the dead Uchiha Shisui bears some responsibility. That's not right, teacher. How can you blame Shisui? There's no way. Who told him to put his hope of stopping that family coup on Itachi? For this reason, he even gave his other mainstream Sharingan to Itachi. What did Itachi do? He slaughtered all the clan members except Sasuke. I actually want to see how Shisui would react when he found out that he had entrusted the wrong person. Would he kill Sasuke to vent his anger? Itachi, as a murder weapon of Konoha, chose a slightly better result under uncontrollable circumstances. On the night of the massacre, Uchiha Itachi held up a knife with tears in his eyes and said goodbye to his parents. They entrusted Sasuke to Itachi and said to Itachi, "Compared with you, our pain will end in an instant." After this moment, Itachi silently began to play the most vicious person, waiting for his brother Sasuke, and was determined to let Sasuke join the Avengers, setting himself as Sasuke's revenge target. "Itachi, if you were a brother, come and kill me." When escaping from Konoha, Itachi also threatened Danzo that if he dared to hurt Sasuke, he would sell the village's information to the enemy country. After escaping, he joined the Akatsuki organization and became a spy. The third Hokage acquiesced to this fact and promised Itachi to protect his brother. Really? Then he is really a good brother. Looking at the light curtain, Sasuke showed a hint of sneer again. Naruto next to him didn't notice Sasuke's emotions, and whispered to Kakashi, "It feels like Sasuke's brother treats him quite well." Kakashi looked at Naruto helplessly, not knowing why he came to such a conclusion, and couldn't find anything to say to answer him for a while. He was afraid that if he didn't answer well, Sasuke would talk about Obito again. It's just that Naruto's voice was small, but Sasuke still heard it. He was not angry at Naruto, but said in a cold voice, "Imagine that your beloved brother suddenly killed your uncles, aunts, and parents one day, and you wanted to kill him as soon as possible, but later found out that he did everything for you. What would you think?" Naruto was stuck. Such a complicated question was really not suitable for him. After holding it in for a while, he had to smile foolishly and said, "I'm sorry, Sasuke, I don't have a brother, no parents, no uncles, aunts, and aunts." "I can't imagine what you said." Sasuke was also stunned. He remembered that this idiot was also a very pitiful guy. His parents died as soon as he was born. Well, he was killed by Obito. Thinking of this, he suddenly looked at Kakashi and said, "Obito, this guy really deserves to die." A drop of cold sweat flowed down Kakashi's forehead. At this moment, he really felt Sasuke's murderous intention. He really wanted to kill Obito. "Lord Orochimaru, I wonder when Sasuke's parents can be resurrected." Kakashi knew that he couldn't persuade Sasuke, so he simply set his sights on Orochimaru. Can't Orochimaru resurrect the dead? Then as long as Sasuke's parents are resurrected, perhaps his hatred will not be so great. Well, it depends on what Jiraiya and the old man mean. Orochimaru knew what Kakashi meant, and wanted to divert the blame and put Sasuke's attention on him. Fortunately, he was not a pushover, and he easily passed the blame to the Third Hokage and the Fifth Jiraiya. "Third Hokage, Jiraiya. Orochimaru, thank you so much." Suddenly I feel that in terms of facing enemies, Sasuke is a bit like Tony Stark, Itachi is a bit like the Winter Soldier, and Konoha is Hydra. Chapter 141 Moon Reading. After Itachi joined the Akatsuki organization, he formed a partnership with Biwajuzo, a rebel ninja from the Hidden Mist village and one of the 7 ninja swordsmen. During the mission to infiltrate the Land of Water, he was chased by the 4th Mizukage Jiraiya. Juzo was seriously injured to protect Itachi, and then died. Itachi used the eye technique of the Mangekyou Sharingan. Amaterasu unexpectedly killed the 4th Mizukage who had transformed into a tailed beast, and successfully escaped from the Hidden Mist village. Next, Itachi was spotted by Orochimaru, who was also that technical consultant of the Akatsuki organization at the time, during the solo operation. Because Orochimaru was too greedy for Uchiha Itachi's beauty, he tried to take over Itachi's body, but was finally forcibly rejected by Uchiha Itachi, forcing Orochimaru to leave the Akatsuki organization. PFFT, Orochimaru? Still greedy for Itachi's beauty? No way, wouldn't I be very dangerous? The 5th Jiraiya almost couldn't breathe. He had known for a long time that Orochimaru didn't care much about gender, but he didn't know that this guy could be so dangerous. As a good partner of Orochimaru, Jiraiya the 5th generation felt his anus tighten when he saw this, and looked at Orochimaru in horror. He had thought that Orochimaru would refute something. Unexpectedly, Orochimaru didn't refute the light curtain at all. Instead, he stuck out his tongue and licked his lips, looking at Jiraiya the 5th generation with a lewd face. Upon seeing this, Jiraiya the 5th generation shuddered and quickly turned his head, looking at the 3rd generation Hokage seriously, and said, "Old man, please protect me and don't let Orochimaru taint my pure chastity." 3rd generation Hokage. Retracting his gaze, Orochimaru found that Sasuke was looking at him with a very playful look. He immediately asked, "Sasuke, you are not so superficial, are you?" Sasuke shook his head and said, "I just didn't expect that the famous Cold Lord Orochimaru left Akatsuki because he was driven away by Itachi. I really don't know where you get the confidence to think that I, after your teaching, can beat Uchiha Itachi, who you have never beaten." Orochimaru laughed and did not blame Sasuke for his answer. There are many reasons for leaving Akatsuki. The failure of the battle with Itachi was just a fuse. As for whether you can beat Itachi, I am not confident in myself, but I am confident in you. Don't you have confidence in yourself? Of course I am very confident in myself. Then what's the problem? Humph. Sasuke couldn't argue with Orochimaru, so he had to snort coldly to save face. "Orochimaru. Little guy, can't I cure you? I have eaten more salt than you have eaten rice." "Sasuke. Then you have a strong taste." Orochimaru. In the days that followed, Itachi participated in recruiting other members and formed a partnership with Hoshigaki Kizum, who was also a traitor from the Hidden Mist village and one of the 7 ninja swordsmen. Due to the order of the organization's boss, the rare pets from the 1 to the 9-tailed beast still had to be raised, so Itachi and Kizum were responsible for going to Konoha to capture the 9-tailed beast. In Orochimaru's plan to destroy Konoha, the 3rd generation had already sacrificed, so basically no one knew about Uchiha Itachi's identity as a spy. But Uchiha Itachi is still Konoha's Uchiha Itachi after all, and he naturally won't do things for Akatsuki to destroy Konoha and hurt the people in the village. Dead Uchiha. Do you want to listen to what you are saying? On the contrary, he also took the public funds of the Akatsuki organization to spend money in Konoha village. So just like that, Uchiha Itachi and Kizum entered Konoha village on the pretext of spying on Konoha's intelligence. What should be said here is the incident when Uchiha Itachi and Kizum came to the village half a year ago, right? It should be. Hearing Kakashi's words, Ashuma, who had deliberately come closer, breathed a sigh of relief. The situation at the time was indeed very dangerous. He was suppressed by the shark-faced man in the battle. Hone didn't know whether he was too nervous or his brain was what, and he used illusion on Itachi, who opened the Sharingan. The result was obvious, and it was successfully countered by Itachi. If Kakashi, his father, Jiraiya and Orochimaru hadn't come to the rescue, he and Hone would be in a very bad situation. Even if Itachi was secretly a spy of Konoha, Kizum was not. Itachi could hold back on Hone, but Kizum would not hold back on himself. In the light screen video, the third generation has been sacrificed, and Orochimaru is probably gone. Only Jiraiya is the only high-end combat force left. I don't know how this crisis will be resolved. Soon, the light screen video gave an answer to Kakashi's words. After successfully entering Konoha village, Itachi went straight to the snack bar and ate the 3-color meatballs that he had not seen for many years. On this day, the sales of the 3-color meatballs were very good. Soon, their whereabouts were discovered by Ashuma and others. Itachi used hyperrealistic VR on Kakashi Hatake, his boss from the Yanbu period, to repay the old senior for his years of training in the Yanbu, which made Kakashi too excited and admitted to the hospital. What's going on? Was I killed by Itachi in seconds? Kakashi looked at the screen video in disbelief. Itachi glared at Kakashi like this, and he immediately became depressed as if he had not slept for 10 days and 10 nights. After Konoha's precious beast my guy came to help and drove away Uchiha Itachi and Kizum, he could no longer hold on and fell into a coma. Ha ha ha, Kakashi, you are worthy at being Kakashi. You were defeated by a genjutsu from Itachi. What do you mean by being defeated by a genjutsu? You can tell at a glance that it is not an ordinary genjutsu. Can an ordinary genjutsu use the main Kime Sharingan? Explanation is covering up, and covering up means it is true. Kakashi, just accept the reality. Sorry, I don't accept it. Kakashi covered his face. He was not satisfied with his performance on the light screen video. In his opinion, he had been decadent for so many years, and he did have a gap with Itachi. But the gap should not be that big. He was defeated by the other party when he glared at him. It was too fucking nonsense. Itachi should have used Tsukayami. As Orochimaru, who was also taken care of by Tsukayami, he deeply understood the pain and the feeling of being helpless. Tsukayami. Ashuma and Kakashi looked at Orochimaru at the same time. Tsukayami is Uchiha Itachi's main Kime pupil technique, a very powerful illusion. In this illusion, all factors including time, place, quality, etc. are controlled by Itachi. The person who is hit will suffer great physical and mental pain in the illusion world. What's more frightening is that no matter how much time has passed in the illusion world, it is only a moment in reality. At this point, Orochimaru looked at Kakashi and continued, I'm afraid this is the main reason why you became hollow immediately after he glared at you. Lord Orochimaru knows so much, could it be that you have also been hit by this trick? Orochimaru, I'm kind enough to help you solve your doubts, but you were talking about something else. Kakashi. Who told you to say that I am hollow? I'll say it again, my name is Kakashi, not Kakaku. Ashuma. Okay Kakaku, I got it, Kakaku. Kakashi. After rereading the comics, I realized that when Orochimaru wanted to take over Itachi's body, he was not hit by Tsukayami, but some kind of golden binding technique. This feels a bit ridiculous. Later, Sasuke also used it on Orochimaru, but Orochimaru only paused for a moment and then recovered immediately. When Itachi used it on him, he was fixed in place for a long time. Even if the power of the Sharingan is taken into account, the difference should not be that big. In addition, I have already written that Orochimaru was hit by Tsukayami at the time, and it is too late to change it now. So, let's just assume that Orochimaru was hit by Tsukayami at the time. Chapter 142 Itachi. Sasuke, you are just a younger brother. After getting rid of the entanglement of the Konoha people, Uchiha Itachi saw his younger brother, Uchiha Sasuke. At this time, Sasuke has grown into a beautiful boy, but there is a blonde and blue-eyed stalker beside him. Uchiha Itachi frowned and found that things were a bit complicated. Adhering to the principle that the elder brother is like a father, he must stop his younger brother from falling in love early. Seeing that the beautiful contact lenses of the second pillar have not evolved into a limited edition, Uchiha Itachi was a little anxious, so after some stimulation, he urged Sasuke to improve his strength as soon as possible so that he could fall in love freely. "I'm in love with you." Sasuke's face was livid, and he was obviously not satisfied with the ridicule of the light screen video. Blonde hair and blue eyes? Isn't this the idiot Naruto? How could I have the idea of falling in love with him? Sasuke-kun, do you want to learn the reincarnation technique? If you learn it, you can become a real woman. Then you and Uzumaki Naruto will be together. Orochimaru, shut up. If it wasn't for the wrong occasion, he really wanted to sew Orochimaru's mouth shut. I'm not as pedantic as Jiraiya and Uchiha Itachi. I'm very open-minded. If you really like Uzumaki Naruto, fuck. Sasuke couldn't stand it anymore and kicked Orochimaru with a whip kick. Orochimaru reacted quickly and jumped back a little distance to perfectly avoid the whip kick. Sasuke-kun still needs to continue training. You can't hit me with this strength. Sasuke. Fuck. Uchiha Itachi used public funds to travel to Konoha, so he naturally had some plans in mind. It can be roughly divided into these small goals. See his younger brother, stroke his younger brother, and beat his younger brother. This is just the first point. The second point is to demonstrate to the people of Danzo's faction. Third, roughly complete the task assigned by the Akatsuki organization. Fourth, report to Konoha about the Nine-Tails issue. Obviously, Uchiha Itachi achieved his intention, but he had to take action due to the surveillance of his teammate Kizum. At the same time, Sasuke, who was being beaten, also understood the difference in strength between the two sides. If he wanted to kill Itachi for revenge, his current strength was not enough. After Uchiha Itachi showed off his acting skills, poor Sasuke was beaten like a younger brother. Itachi. He was originally a younger brother. Fortunately, when Jiraiya arrived, Uchiha Itachi found an excuse to escape, and then used Amaterasu and Kizum to escape from the body of the Iwajuku giant toad summoned by Jiraiya. On the screen, Jiraiya boasted to Uzumaki Naruto with a smug look on his face, saying that in the stomach of the Iwajuku giant toad, Uchiha Itachi and Kizum would never escape. As a result, Uchiha Itachi used Taian's Outlakitis, and had a stomach on the stomach of the royal toad. It is afraid that he can only run away by him. This should not be the original words of Itachi. This must not be the original words of Itachi. Yes. However, the stomach of the Roxu big toad can't be trapped by Itachi. After the Takao, it was serious thinking. This barrier can be used for defense, and it can also trap the opponent and then slowly digest it. In Jiraiya's many years of fighting, no one has ever been able to escape from this move. At this time, he was quite surprised to see Itachi's Amaterasu black flame burn through the stomach wall and escape. This Amaterasu should be another right technique in Itachi's main Scheme Sharingan. It can even burn through the stomach wall of the rock toad. This power is really scary. If you encounter it, you must be on guard. After Itachi and Kizum left, Sasuke was left alone and helpless in the wind. It was precisely because of this stimulation of strength that Sasuke's mentality began to change, laying the groundwork for his later defection. Hey? Sasuke, you want to defect? At this time, Naruto didn't care whether Sakura would misunderstand him. He returned to Sasuke's side, looking very nervous. Idiot, even Orochimaru has returned to Konoha, do you think I still need to defect? Sasuke's mind is still very smart when it doesn't involve Itachi. After becoming Orochimaru's disciple and seeing the light curtain video, he had some guesses about his performance in the work Naruto. Whether to continue to stay in the village or defect from the village to find Orochimaru, he thinks he will probably choose the latter. It's because he wants to kill Uchiha Itachi too much. The improvement of staying in the village is too slow, and I don't know how many years it will take to have the strength to kill Itachi. It's different to go to find Orochimaru. After tasting the sweetness brought by the cursed seal, even if he knows that Orochimaru has no good intentions towards him, in order to gain stronger power, he will most likely go to Orochimaru. At this time, the words on the light curtain just confirmed Sasuke's guess. But now that Orochimaru has returned to Konoha, he naturally has no intention of defecting from that village. That's good. I was really afraid that you would become a rebel. Think about it with your not-so-smart head. I eat well and sleep well in the village now, and Orochimaru is helping me improve my strength. With such good conditions, why would I defect? Sasuke, you are so weird. Why do you ask me whether you want to defect or not? Looking at Naruto's clear and stupid eyes, Sasuke decided not to argue with him. Just look at your light curtain and don't bother me. Okay. 3 years later, when Keisuke Gaara was captured by Dadara and Sasori, the Akatsuki organization, in order to delay the rescue process of Kakashi and his teams and facilitate the smooth extraction of the One Tail, the organization's boss, Pain, used the elephant turning technique. Wait, Gaara became the Keisuke. Also, his One Tail Shikaku was also extracted by the Akatsuki organization. This sentence really contained a lot of information. The 5th generation Jiraiya and the 3rd generation Hokage and others began to discuss while looking at the light curtain. From the time point of view, the Akatsuki organization will start their tailed beast capture plan 3 years later as mentioned on the light curtain, which is 2.5 years from now. 2.5 years left? It seems there is still plenty of time. Don't be careless, Jiraiya. The development of the ninja world is different from what is said on the light curtain. We can't just follow that time on the light curtain. I know. Chapter 143 Angry Sasuke. Old man, I understand what you said. What I mean is that the 3 tails should be resurrected in 2.5 years, and only then will Akatsuki begin to implement their plan. After a pause, Jiraiya of the 5th generation continued, 2.5 years is enough time for us to know the intelligence of all members of Akatsuki. You're right. No matter how the situation develops, Akatsuki will not carry out large-scale operations until the 3 tails is resurrected. Once the action of capturing the tailed beasts is discovered, they will no longer face the hostility of 1 or 2 ninja villages, but the hostility of the entire ninja world. Except for the 7 tails in Taikaku, the remaining 8 tailed beasts are all in the 5 major ninja villages in the ninja world. If Akatsuki wants to capture the tailed beasts, it will inevitably confront the 5 major ninja villages. Especially the group of barbarians in the Hidden Cloud village. These barbarians will eat anything, but they are unwilling to suffer losses. Akatsuki wants to capture the tailed beasts, which means they want the life of Killer Bee, the younger brother of the 4th generation Raikage. According to Ai's personality, how can he tolerate this? Therefore, if Akatsuki wants to collect all 9 tailed beasts, they can only wait for the 3 tailed beasts to revive, and then quickly collect all 9 tailed beasts at a lightning speed. As for how Akatsuki should face the encirclement and suppression of the entire ninja world after collecting all 9 tailed beasts, I think they will also have corresponding means. These are not the concerns of the 3rd generation Hokage and others. The elephant turning technique was used on Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigakikism. The ability of this ninjutsu was roughly to control a clone with 1/3 of its own strength to perform tasks by willpower alone. So, Itachi once again fought with his old boss Kakashi of the Anbu and his younger brother Uzumaki Naruto in the form of a clone. Old Kakashi knew that the one-tailed beast was a protected animal of the Sand Village and needed to be rescued quickly. After being hit by the Tsukairami last time, the food in the hospital where he rested was really not good. Old Kakashi, who acted cautiously, did not accept the gift of Uchiha Itachi's Tsukairama card VR this time. On the contrary, Naruto was having a lot of fun in Itachi's illusion. After all, he could see Sasuke with blue skin. Is that me? How come I'm so ugly? Sasuke in the second stage of the curse seal is really ugly. His hair turned blue, his chest was bare and he was not wearing any clothes, but the ugliest thing was the pair behind him, which looked more like goose paws than wings. Even Sasuke himself couldn't help but complain about this ugly shape. This should be what you look like when you activate the curse seal state. Curse Seal 2? Hearing Orochimaru talking about the Curse Seal, Sasuke subconsciously touched his neck. Yes, the Curse Seal I studied can actually be divided into 2 forms. The first form is what you appeared in the Chunin exam. The runes of the Curse Seal will be all over the body, while the second form of the Curse Seal is more dramatic. It can change the appearance of the user of the Curse Seal, and it is possible that organs that normal people do not have will grow. For example, you on the light screen grew a pair of big hand-shaped wings, Kimimaro grew a tail, and Chiko can even turn his hand into an axe. Sasuke met Kimimaro and Chiko on the second day after becoming Orochimaru's disciple. It's just that Kimimaro has been seriously ill in bed, and with tubes all over his body, he has no energy to communicate with Sasuke. But Chiko chatted well with Sasuke, and the two had a good relationship. Sasuke-kun, do you want me to help you awaken the second curse seal? Let me think about it. If it were in the past, Sasuke would definitely agree without saying a word. After all, he wanted to quickly increase his strength so that he could hunt down Itachi. But this time is different, and he already knows a lot of things, so he is no longer in a hurry to kill Itachi. In this case, it seems that there is no need for him to make himself so ugly just to increase his strength. Sasuke, you'll look so ugly on the light screen. Look, even Naruto, who has a fox beard on his face, is complaining about his ugliness. But Sasuke, I think it's better for you to accept Orochimaru's proposal. Oh? Why do you say that? Sasuke and Orochimaru looked at Naruto in surprise, wondering why he said that. Sasuke, look, although you have become ugly after opening the second seal, your strength is increased. More importantly, you are so ugly that Sakura will definitely dislike you. Then won't I have a chance? I'm so stupid, really. I just know that you are not very smart, but I didn't expect you to be so scheming. Hehe, I feel embarrassed if you praise me like this. I'm not praising you. After a fight among everyone, the elephant turned clone with 1/3 of Uchiha Itachi's strength was defeated by the big ball made by Naruto. Itachi looked at his brother who was following him. He was a pastry boy who could make such round balls. Thinking that Sasuke would not starve to death with him in the future, Itachi smiled like a father-in-law. Naruto noticed something and was secretly happy. It had been a while since Naruto last met Itachi. On his way to pursue Sasuke, Naruto met Itachi again. Hey? What happened to Gaara in the end? Why didn't you show the video? Seeing that the video on the light screen began to change, skipping the captured Gaara, Naruto immediately yelled in dissatisfaction. Shut up, if you want to know Gaara's specific situation, then just wait for the light curtain to count him. Naruto pouted and whispered, I just want to know how Gaara is doing. Sasuke, do you have to be so fierce? I'm really sorry for being so fierce. Ha ha ha, it's okay Sasuke, I forgive you. Sasuke. Itachi cast an illusion on Naruto and asked Naruto if he really wanted to take Sasuke home. No, he wanted to take him back to the village. After knowing Naruto's determination to bring Sasuke back, Itachi decided to entrust his brother to Naruto, and at the same time put the Kuroha Shisei's left eye into Naruto's body. Itachi had already planned that if Sasuke became corrupt after killing him, and in order to pursue more powerful power, he would definitely transplant the mainstream Sharingan. As long as Sasuke tried to retaliate against Konoha, he would definitely fight with Naruto. At the time, Kuroha appeared and cast Koutomitsu Kamai on Sasuke, forcibly changing Sasuke's will. After Itachi finished what he could do, he silently waited for his death. Passing this, Sasuke slapped the armrest of the chair and said angrily, How dare he? Sasuke never thought that Itachi, who had been saying how much he loved him and how much he had given up for him, would want to use Shisei's mainstream Sharingan to change his will. Is he still himself after his will has changed? Chapter 144. The hard to kill Orochimaru. To be honest, Uchiha Itachi's behavior is indeed very perverted. For the sake of Konoha, he did not hesitate to forcibly change Sasuke's will. So the question is, does Itachi love Sasuke more, or Konoha more? The massacre of the entire clan can be said to be for Sasuke, so that he will not be persecuted by the village after the clan is suppressed by Konoha. Conversely, it can also be said to be for Konoha. The strength of the Uchiha clan is obvious to the entire ninja world. The clan rebelled against Konoha, and no matter who the final winner is, Konoha will suffer heavy losses. Giving Sasuke his own eyes, allowing Sasuke's mainstream Sharingan to evolve into an eternal mainstream Sharingan, so that he no longer has to worry about his eyes going blind, is enough to prove his love for Sasuke. At the same time, he wants to use Shisei's eyes to modify Sasuke's will, as if to say that he doesn't love his brother that much. This twisted behavior is really hard to say, he loves his brother more, or the village. Teacher, what do you think of Itachi? In Tobirama's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen has complicated feelings about Itachi. He liked Itachi's protection of the village, but was a little disgusted by his behavior towards his brother. Personally, he couldn't accept Itachi like this. But from the perspective of the village, the more people like Itachi who protect the village, the better. Me? I don't like Uchiha Itachi. Why? Sarutobi Hiruzen was a little surprised. He thought Itachi's behavior of protecting the village would satisfy Mr. Tobirama. After all, he is an Uchiha. It's right to protect the village, but there must be ways and methods. For the rest, you have to figure it out yourself. Hiruzen. Senju Tobirama had no choice. He was the Hokage of the village. Just like Sarutobi Hiruzen thought, Tobirama could have too many Uchiha like this. But he would never change his brother's will for the sake of that village. When Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara established Konoha, they wanted to protect their families. Hashirama was very ambitious and regarded everyone who joined the village as his family. Madara didn't have such a big ambition. Before building the village, he just wanted to protect his brother Ishina. As a result, Ishina was chopped to death by Tobirama. After the village was established, Madara wanted to protect the Uchiha clan, but when he was about to leave, the clan members chose to betray him and let him leave Konoha alone. From the behavior of Hashirama and Madara, we can see that family is more important than the village. It's just that Hashirama regards everyone in the village as his family, so he fought against the returning Uchiha Madara to protect the village. Anyway, Senju Tobirama felt that he didn't have as big a heart as his elder brother Hashirama. If he had to choose between his younger brother and the village, he would definitely choose his younger brother. Of course, he couldn't say this clearly, so he could only let Sarutobi Hiruzen figure it out for himself. After killing Orochimaru, Sasuke joined forces with his alumni at Sound University to form a sniper team. And the purpose of the team was also very simple, that is, to kill Uchiha Itachi. When Itachi was seriously ill and his body was on the verge of limit, Itachi and Sasuke made an appointment to fight in 3 days. I didn't expect that I would die in the hands of Sasuke-kun. On the light screen, Orochimaru used the corpse reincarnation technique to seize Sasuke's body, but was killed by Sasuke. Watching this scene, Orochimaru was not angry, but watched it with relish. What a weirdo, he can still laugh when he sees the scene of his own death. Naruto's voice came from the side, making Orochimaru smile again. Naruto, I'm very hard to kill. You're lying. You on the screen clearly died at the hands of Sasuke. Really? Orochimaru asked Sasuke, who looked very ugly. Sasuke-kun also thinks I will die in your hands? Sasuke sneered, I don't believe you will be killed by me so easily. Hehe, it seems that Sasuke-kun understands me. Of course, a disgusting guy like you, how could it be possible to die so easily? It's really sad, I'm your teacher after all, can't you say something nice to me? Nice what? Is there any meaning? Well, it seems that there is no meaning. Then it's over. Sasuke-kun is really unlovable. This time Sasuke didn't reply. He stared at the screen because it was playing his battle with Itachi. During the battle between the two, Itachi's acting skills burst out again. He pretended to dig out Sasuke's eyes, for himself, but in fact, he didn't want to hurt Sasuke at all. Not only that, he also acted as a scorer for Sasuke's strength. He roughly and focused on testing Sasuke's following points. First, illusion. Assessment requirements. After putting VR glasses on the opponent, is there an immersive feeling? Second, shuriken. Assessment requirements. Is there any fancy tricks that make people feel bright? Third point, taijutsu. Assessment points. After taking so many drugs with Orochimaru, can he become the champion of the traditional triathlon? In this way, after a series of tests, Uchiha Itachi felt that the education of Sound University on Sasuke was effective, but not enough. Itachi's current physical condition is not very good, and he has no extra time for Sasuke. At the moment, what Itachi can do is to make Sasuke free from the shackles of Orochimaru's curse seal and push Sasuke to the limit before he dies. After Sasuke's S-level ninjutsu Kirin was released, he used Susanoo to resist it. After Itachi successfully resisted Kirin, Sasuke was also exhausted. At this moment, Orochimaru inside Sasuke took the opportunity to appear and wanted to take over his body. Sure enough, you are not that easy to die, but can you explain to me why you on the light curtain can come out of my curse seal? Hearing Sasuke's slightly reproachful words, Orochimaru shrugged and replied, in order to achieve immortality, I created the reincarnation without corpse. The key point of this trick is to transfer one's own soul to the body of the person who was taken away, so as to achieve all-round occupation from body to soul. For the sake of immortality, you can create such a technique. You really deserve the name of Lengjun. Thank you for the compliment. Let's get back to the topic. Since I can create the reincarnation without corpse for immortality, it is reasonable for me to put my soul fragments into the curse seal in order to be able to resurrect after death. In other words, as long as we who have the curse seal are not killed together, you can be resurrected no matter how many times you die. Haha, that's about right. Originally, your soul will be damaged once you reincarnate. In order to resurrect, you have to split your soul and put it in the curse seal. It's no wonder that your illusion resistance is so low. In order to achieve immortality, these are necessary means. Whether physically or mentally, you are so disgusting, Orochimaru. Sasuke-kun, you hurt me again. Really? I'm so sorry. It's okay, I forgive you. Hilly. Hilly. Chapter 145 The Brothers' War ends. Sasuke didn't know that Orochimaru only added his own soul fragments to the Heaven and Earth curse seals, such as the seals of Sasuke, Kimimura, Mitara Shianko, etc. He didn't put his own soul fragments into the general seals of Tama, Jirobo, etc. Moreover, he couldn't be resurrected infinitely through the Heaven and Earth curse seals. He could only be resurrected once for each Heaven and Earth curse seal. If he wanted to use the same seal to be resurrected again, he had to put his own soul fragments into the seal again. This was Orochimaru's final means of resurrection, and he would not tell anyone. Based on the idea that if he couldn't get Itachi, he had to get his brother, so Orochimaru came out and threw out the eight-headed technique. However, it just happened to be what Itachi wanted. After enduring Orochimaru's nonsense, he decisively sealed Orochimaru with the Ten-Fist Sword, and then burned the little white snake incarnated by Orochimaru with the Yamato also Black Flame. Itachi, in line with the self-cultivation of an actor, should do a full set of acting. After playing a set, Itachi's blue bar was almost empty. He slowly walked towards the weak Sasuke and threatened Sasuke that he would take off his beauty contact lenses. At this time, Sasuke, who was terrified, had collapsed and shouted, "Don't come over." Unfortunately, Itachi still came to Sasuke step by step, but he did not take off Sasuke's beauty contact lenses. Instead, he smiled and poked Sasuke's forehead and asked his brother to forgive him for the last time. "Itachi, forgive me, Sasuke, this is the last time." Sasuke's heart was mixed with mixed feelings. After all, this would be the last time that Itachi poked his head. At the same time, Itachi set Yamato also in Sasuke's eyes so that Sasuke would not be fooled by the masked man in the future. At this time, Itachi chose to bear everything in order to atone for the Uchiha clan members who died in his hands and for his brother to have a good future. He hoped that Sasuke could return to Konoha with the good news of killing the rebellious ninja, offset Sasuke's previous mistakes, and become a hero of Konoha. He also hoped that through his own death, he could help Sasuke open the main Kime Sharingan, and finally die in front of Sasuke with a smile. How about Sasuke, watching Itachi die in front of you on the light screen, what do you think? Glancing at Orochimaru, Sasuke replied unhappily. He died, so what else can I think? But in reality, I won't let him die so easily. Even if he has to die, he must die in front of his father and mother after atonement. It is impossible to say that Itachi's death did not make Sasuke's heart fluctuate at all. Before the Uchiha clan was exterminated, his feelings for Itachi were not fake. As the saying goes, the deeper love, the deeper the hatred. His hatred for Itachi is not because he loves him too much. If Konoha had not invented the resurrection technique, his parents could not be resurrected. Perhaps he would be like on the light screen, wishing to stand in front of him and kill him as soon as possible. However, under the premise that his parents are very likely to be resurrected, he does not want Itachi to die so easily. The resurrection technique is very powerful, but Sasuke knows that the number of people who can be resurrected will definitely be strictly limited. If you want to reproduce the glory of Uchiha, how to expand and spread is a very big problem. Since Itachi wants to forgive his sins, then I will give him this opportunity. At this moment, Sasuke already had a vague idea in his mind. If it is feasible, it will not only solve the problem of Uchiha's population decline, but also be a sufficiently effective and terrifying punishment for Uchiha Itachi. Haha, I can't wait to bring Itachi back. Tobirama's office. Seeing Itachi on the light screen die in front of Sasuke, everyone sighed, and at the same time, Obito, the masked man, also made them very unhappy. Haha, Obito is always there to stir up trouble. Did he want the fight between Itachi and Sasuke? He really wants to kill all the Uchiha clans. It's not enough to destroy the clan, he also wants to see these two brothers kill each other. This man's heart is really twisted. Fortunately, the result is not bad. Itachi died, but he got real relief. Yes, he has been caught between the village and the clan since he was a child. For the sake of the village, he did not hesitate to raise the butcher knife to destroy the clan, killed his parents, and turned against his beloved brother. Such a life is destined to be a torment. By the way, if Sasuke on the light screen knew what Itachi did, what do you think Sasuke would do? Hearing Danzo's words, everyone was shocked and then fell silent. It was Jin, who was also from the Uchiha clan, who broke the silence. I think he will most likely start to rebel against Konoha. Jin, can you tell me your basis? From the introduction of Sasuke on the light screen, we can see that he is willing to betray that village for power. And why does he want power? It's because he wants to kill Uchiha Itachi, the sinner who destroyed the family. In the end, we found out that Itachi destroyed Uchiha, firstly to prevent the village from falling into civil war, and secondly for his younger brother. So, when Sasuke knows this, he will most likely attribute all the problems to the village. I understand. Sasuke will definitely think that if it weren't for the village, Itachi would not have massacred the entire clan, let alone killed his own parents. It's all the village's fault. Jin nodded, agreeing with Hiruzen's words. According to records, Uchiha Madara transplanted his brother Ijina's eyes, which allowed the Mangekyou Sharingan to evolve into the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan. It not only solved the vision problem, but also increased the pupil power a lot. Then the question is, Sasuke, who has the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan, wants to retaliate against Konoha, so who in Konoha can stop him? Everyone looked at each other, and finally said in unison, Uzumaki Naruto. As the child of destiny predicted by the Big Toad, it's time for him to stand up now. But can Uzumaki Naruto really stop Sasuke? It's not like they haven't seen Uzumaki Naruto before. Although they have less contact with him, in their perception, Naruto is a naive kid who is a little silly and can be easily deceived at first glance. Can such a person really stop Sasuke? Wait, have you forgotten that Itachi has a backup plan? He gave Shisui's eyes to Naruto. As long as Sasuke and Naruto fight, Sasuke will be changed by Shisui's Mangekyou technique, from revenge against Konoha to protecting Konoha. If the final ending is really like this, it's ridiculous. Naruto, the child of destiny, has not played the role he should have. Isn't the author of Naruto afraid of being beaten to death by consumers? Don't worry about it. When the light curtain counts Sasuke or Naruto, you'll see the result. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 146. The appearance of the impure world Nagato. Itachi was resurrected by Kabuto Yakushi through the impure world reincarnation, and he worked with another resurrected character, Nagato, and met Naruto and Killer Bee on the battlefield. Jiraiya the Fifth. What? Nagato? Looking at the skinny Nagato who was resurrected by the impure world reincarnation on the light screen, Jiraiya the Fifth had a very complicated feeling. As early as after Danzo's inventory video, Jiraiya the Fifth had a feeling. The Akatsuki organization in the Hidden Rain Village is the Akatsuki organization founded by Ahiko. It's just that he is now the 5th generation Hokage of Konoha, and he can't be willful, otherwise he will really go to the Hidden Rain Village as soon as possible to find out the truth and see if the leader of the Akatsuki organization is Nagato who has the Rinnegan. Now, the picture on the light screen video has completely confirmed his guess. Nagato is the leader of the Akatsuki organization. So the question is, how did Nagato, who owns the entire Akatsuki organization, die? It can't be that he was killed by Obito, right? Is Obito's Kamui so powerful? Can he deal with Nagato's Samsara Eye? The 5th generation Jiraiya was a little unconvinced. Obito's Kamui was indeed powerful. In a one-on-one situation, it was enough to make him invincible. If he couldn't win, he could still use the characteristics of Kamui to run away. But Kamui was good at defense and not enough at offense. As long as he was careful not to be pulled into the Kamui space, Obito's real combat power was at most at a Legionin level. Such an Obito, could he deal with Nagato? By the way, isn't the leader of the Akatsuki organization a guy named Pain? Why did it become Nagato again? No one could answer the 5th generation Jiraiya's question. Even Orochimaru, who had joined the Akatsuki organization, didn't know that Pain was actually a puppet made by Nagato using the Samsara Eye. However, everyone present was smart, and they had already roughly guessed the existence of Pain. After all, knowing that Nagato was the real leader, it was easy to guess that Pain appeared in the open. There were only a few points. Either Pain was Nagato's puppet, or he was a person deliberately put in the open by Nagato. Since Pain also has the Samsara Eye, and Pain looks very similar to Yahiko, then the matter is very clear. Pain is a puppet created by Nagato using Yahiko's body. Although they don't know why this puppet also has the Samsara Eye, it is almost certain that it is a puppet. Danzo, that bastard, deserves to die. They should have been allies of Konoha. Speaking of Danzo, everyone looked indignant. This guy has done too many immoral things. Let's put it this way, if something bad happens in the ninja world, if no one stands up to take the blame, then it is right to put the blame on Danzo. Wait, the female ninja who used Danzo's body to cheat money that made a lot of noise some time ago. I'm afraid it wasn't Konan who did it. Nagato didn't die, and Konan would probably be fine. No matter how strong Konan is, with the relationship with Nagato, she will definitely have a place in the Akatsuki organization. With the entire Akatsuki organization as her backing, it is understandable that she could quickly disappear from the ninja world after defrauding money. TSK, Danzo, this guy, the ninja world is so big that he couldn't go anywhere else, but he chose to go to the Hidden Rain village. Now he is ready to die. He should want to seek refuge with Hanzo and survive by relying on Hanzo's reputation as a demigod. But he didn't expect that the Hidden Rain village is no longer the Hidden Rain village he knew. The Hidden Rain village now belongs to the Akatsuki organization. And there is an unforgettable hatred between the leader of the Akatsuki organization and him. It's really a self-inflicted disaster. When Itachi and Nagato still hit self-awareness, they gave a crazy thumbs up to Naruto who opened the Tailed Beast code. Then Nagato and Naruto had a business blow-up. When Itachi asked Naruto about the recent situation of his younger brother Sasuke, Nagato and Itachi's bodies began to be controlled by Kabuto Yakushi and began to be out of control. Since the two people who were trapped in the impure world were still conscious, the four began to chat while fighting. So we continued the previous topic, and after some questions full of brother control, the topic ended successfully. Itachi handed Sasuke over to Naruto with confidence, and expressed his optimism for Naruto, who was now wearing the yellow robe. Then, Itachi was uncontrollably ready to use the Mangekyou Sharingan, and then triggered the crows that were originally reserved for Naruto. Relying on the illusion called Protect Konoha that was set in advance on Shisei's Mangekyou Sharingan, Itachi escaped from the control of the impure world reincarnation. Itachi is a twisted person, but I have to say that he is really a genius. Yeah, who would have thought that the impure world reincarnation could be broken like this? With that, Hiruzen, Danzo and others looked at teacher Tobirama. Wasn't the person who invented the impure world reincarnation technique his own teacher? Why are you all looking at me? Hehe, I saw that Itachi's trick broke the teacher's technique, so I want to hear your opinion. I don't have any opinion. Tobirama shook his head and continued, you must remember that there is no perfect technique in the ninja world. Every technique has a corresponding cracking method. Just because you don't know it doesn't mean there is no such thing. The technique of impure world reincarnation is a good example. If it weren't for the appearance of the light curtain, I wouldn't know that this technique could be cracked in this way. Even if he knew the new cracking method of impure world reincarnation, Tobirama had no intention of improving this technique. Itachi's situation can only be regarded as an exception. Who told him that he has a Mangekyou Sharingan that can modify other people's will? The control of impure world reincarnation is originally to control the will of the impure world reincarnation. Once this will is modified, the control of impure world reincarnation can naturally be lifted. In Tobirama's office, everyone focused on Itachi's removal of the control of impure world reincarnation. On the Third Hokage's side, everyone focused on Naruto. From the light curtain, we can see that Naruto at the time was able to perfectly open the Tailed Beast code. Does this mean that the Naruto on the light curtain has become a perfect Jinchuriki? TSK, this is the first perfect Jinchuriki of the 9 tails. Even Mito-sama and Kushina couldn't do it back then, but Naruto did it. I can only say that he is worthy at being the child of destiny. It's so terrifying. Hearing everyone praising him, Naruto seemed a little embarrassed. At this time, he and the 9 tails had a better relationship than in the original work at the same time because of the light curtain. As long as he greeted the 9 tails, he could immediately open the 9 tails code. However, compared with the golden-tailed beast code on the light curtain, he could only open the red-tailed beast code at this time. The reason for this is that, firstly, his body has not yet fully developed and can only withstand the power of 4 tails. Secondly, it is also because the 2-tailed beast codes are opened in different ways. The red code is very simple to open. The 9 tails only needs to inject its power into Naruto. The golden code is different. It needs to play tug-of-war with the 9 tails and win the 9 tails to open this code, which is the 9 tails chakra mode. Naruto's current relationship with the 9 tails, his strength, and his body are not at that level yet, so he naturally cannot activate the 9 tails chakra mode. Chapter 147 5th Generation Jiraiya's terrifying guess. After Itachi was freed from the control of the impure world reincarnation, he immediately used also Black Flame on Nagato. At that moment, Nagato was thrown to the ground by the summoned beast he summoned. Nagato, who was possessed by Amaterasu Black Flame, could not move for a while. In addition, Nagato was still conscious. He did not want to hurt Uzumaki Naruto, so he simply stopped attacking and gave up treatment. Since Nagato was killed suddenly, Itachi, Naruto, and Killer Bee happily entered the rest time. Standing on the tree, Itachi could not help but talk about his old friend Shisui, and said that Naruto and Shisui were very similar. After praising Naruto, Itachi recognized Naruto again. At this time, Nagato, who was lying on the ground and burning out, was completely controlled by Kabuto Yakushi. He used Shinra Tensei to push Amaterasu away, absorbed the chakra of the Eight Tails with the power of the Samsara Eye, and then performed the sudden handsomeness technique. Instantly, the four of them started a small-scale fight, and then Itachi led the other two to break the Chibaku Tensei. On the screen, the Eight Tails was condensing the tailed beast ball, Naruto was using Kurama mode to rub the Rasengan, and Itachi also activated Susanoo. The three of them used their strongest moves and successfully blew up the Chibaku Tensei, which had not yet gathered much stone. Chibaku Tensei? What kind of ninjutsu was this? It actually made the three people on the light curtain feel like they were facing a great enemy. Before the jutsu was fully launched, it was destroyed with all its strength. Naruto, Itachi, and Killer Bee in the tailed beast transformation, the three of them were very powerful. Naruto's Rasengan Shuriken, Kakuzu praised it. Itachi's Yasaka Magatama was also very powerful, and Orochimaru said it was great. And the tailed beast ball used by Killer Bee after the tailed beast transformation, no one would deny its power. So the question is, what kind of power does the Chibaku Tensei ninjutsu have that would make the three of them so targeted? In the picture, the black sphere thrown by Nagato is obviously made of highly concentrated chakra. After the sphere floats in the air, it will also attract rocks, trees and other objects around it. Do you have any associations when you see this? The Third Hokage has made it very clear, and everyone is not stupid, so they thought of a lot in an instant. Old man, are you saying that the power of this technique is not its power, but the seal? That should be the case. You see, this technique can attract rocks, trees and other objects, so it makes no sense that it can't attract the human body. Once the human body is sucked into it, isn't it equivalent to being sealed? Well, what you said makes sense, old man, but why do I feel that this technique is a little familiar? The fifth Jiraiya recognized the judgment of the Third Hokage, but he suddenly had an inexplicable sense of deja vu about this technique. He thought for a moment and said, look, if this Chibaku Tensei had not been destroyed by Naruto and the others, and it had been allowed to attract rocks and other objects for a long time, what do you think this technique would look like after it was completed? Is there any need to think about it? It must be a sphere. You're so stupid, you can't even think of this. The fifth generation Jiraiya didn't care that Naruto called him stupid. Instead, he nodded and said, yes, it's a sphere, a big sphere, a very huge sphere. So what do you think this sphere looks like? Naruto. Isn't there only one sphere? How come there are three? Jiraiya. Naruto, don't interrupt. Oh. After Jiraiya's reminder, Kakashi replied uncertainly. God, you mean, the complete form of Chibaku Tensei looks like the moon? Hearing this answer, the fifth generation Jiraiya slapped the third generation Hokage's thigh and said, yes, it looks like the moon. The third Hokage, who was rubbing his thighs frantically, shouted at Jiraiya angrily. Jiraiya, if you want to slap, just slap your own thighs. Why did you slap mine? Don't you know it will hurt? I just knew it would hurt, so I slapped yours. What you said makes a lot of sense. I am speechless. After Jiraiya argued with the third Hokage, he said to everyone, according to records, the moon was created by the six-path sage. If my guess is correct, there must be something sealed inside the moon. If the guesses of the third and fifth Hokage are accurate, then things will be very bad. Even the six-path sage can't deal with it. He can only seal it like this. Once something goes wrong and it breaks the seal, will the ninja world still be able to resist? Yeah, the ninja world is probably going to be finished. Ashuma, don't be too negative. This is just your guess by the old man and me. What if we guess wrong? Having said that, the fifth Jiraiya was very confident in his guess. But he couldn't figure out what was sealed inside the moon. Fortunately, everyone was able to control their curiosity and didn't want to take the moon down to have a look. Even if they wanted to satisfy their curiosity, they didn't have the ability. In the long history of the ninja world, the moon had never had any problems. It's impossible that they would be so unlucky that the moon would have problems in their lives. Ha ha ha, impossible, absolutely impossible. Nagato finally became the second person in Naruto to be stabbed in the stomach by Itachi with a machete several dozen meters long. Of course, Orochimaru in the Tenkaken was very satisfied when he thought that the former leader of the Akatsuki organization moved in to keep him company. After completely getting rid of Nagato, Itachi looked at Naruto, who wanted to solve everything by himself, and decided to teach him a lesson. He warned Naruto, "It's not that those who become Hokage will be recognized by everyone, but those who were recognized by everyone can become Hokage." At this time, Uchiha Itachi stepped on the head of the king of mouth-to-mouth, stood at the commanding heights of mouth-to-mouth, and became the ruthless god of mouth-to-mouth. Based on the principle of giving a candy after a whip, after educating Naruto, Itachi once again expressed his ultimate recognition of Naruto, then burned off Shisei's eyes, bid farewell to Naruto and Killer Bee, and went to personally stop the impure world reincarnation. I think what Itachi said to Naruto is quite right. I also think he is right. In the Tobirama office, everyone expressed their approval of what Itachi said. Listen, it is not that the person who becomes Hokage will be recognized by everyone, but that the person who is recognized by everyone can become Hokage. How good this sentence is. If Itachi was not born in Uchiha, if the atmosphere of Konoha was better at the time, if the people in power were not the third Hokage and Danzo, maybe he really had a chance to become Hokage. After saying this, Kagami also glanced at Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shinguru Danzo. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shinguru Danzo, who were cued by Kagami, had no expression on their faces. Just kidding, what the third Hokage and the old Danzo did, what does it have to do with them? Third Hokage. As we all know, these bad things were done by Danzo, and have nothing to do with me. Danzo. Yes, you can blame me for everything, aren't you? 05205. What's going on? There are more than 300 more collections on Kidian, did I recommend it? Chapter 148. Pharmacist Kabuto, Danger. Lecturer Sage, why did Brother Sasuke burn Shisei's eyes? No matter how thick-skinned Naruto was, he knew that the mainstream Sharingan was a very strong bloodline limit. It was a bit of a pity that it was burned like this. If it was given to Sasuke, Sasuke would only need to evolve one of his eyes into a mainstream Sharingan, and the difficulty would be halved. Well, I have to say that Naruto's idea is very strange. The difficulty of evolving one Sharingan into a mainstream Sharingan is half as difficult as evolving both into a microphone Sharingan. This idea is very Naruto. I think there should be several reasons. God Jiraiya was thinking. He was thinking about how to answer Naruto so that he could understand. The third Hokage on the side didn't think so much, and said directly, "Shisei told me at the beginning that every time Kouta Mitsukamai is used, there will be a cooling period of several years or more than 10 years. During this period, his mainstream Sharingan can no longer use Kouta Mitsukamai until the cooling period is over. Itachi has already used this mainstream on himself on the light screen, using it to get rid of the control of the impure world reincarnation. Then, its mission has been completed. The next time it is used, it will take too long to work on Sasuke at all." That's right. At this time, the fifth Jiraiya said, "In such a long time, anything can happen in the ninja world. Itachi no longer needs Shisei's eyes to let Sasuke in the light screen to protect Konoha, because he recognizes you in the light screen. He sees Shisei's qualities in you. He believes that even without the help of a compulsory external force like Kouta Mitsukamai, when Sasuke stands on the opposite side of Konoha, you can stop Sasuke." Hehe, is that so? Naruto nodded and smiled foolishly. He was very happy for Itachi's recognition. Sasuke was very upset. He was very upset that Itachi placed his hopes on Naruto. It was not that he was upset with Naruto as a person, but that Itachi had no confidence in him and thought that Naruto could stop him. He carefully recalled some information about the two people's combat power revealed by the light curtain. He should have awakened the mainstream Sharingan, and with what he learned from Orochimaru, his combat power should be very strong. As for Naruto, from some information revealed by the light curtain, he can make Rasengan, and Rasengan Shuriken. Damn, why are they all making balls? Shaking his head, clearing some distracting thoughts, Sasuke continued to recall. In addition to making balls, Naruto also has the full support of the Nine Tails. The golden shaker-tailed beast coat is different from the normal mode-tailed beast coat at first glance. In addition, Naruto has a huge amount of chakra, which can perform multiple shadow clone techniques without scruples, and the psychic Myobokuzen that he learned in the Chunin exam. Thinking of this, Sasuke was very surprised to find that Naruto seemed to have the ability to stop him. Can this loser really grow to that level? After the Chunin exam, Sasuke had already acknowledged Naruto's strength and believed that he could definitely become an excellent ninja. However, in the light screen, Naruto's performance was more than excellent, and it was really a world of difference compared to now. If the light screen had not made any mistakes, Sasuke really couldn't believe that Naruto could grow to that level. Everyone didn't know Sasuke's complicated emotions at this time. After the 5th Hokage Jiraiya finished speaking, the 3rd Hokage continued. Besides that, there is another reason to destroy Shisei's Sharingan. Shisei's Sharingan is just a tool, but this tool is so powerful that it is easily coveted by other people in the ninja world, just like when Danzo took away Shisei's Sharingan. So, since Shisei's Sharingan has lost its use now, and Itachi has now found the successor of Shisei's will, then this Sharingan has no meaning to exist, so that it can also avoid future disputes caused by this Sharingan. Do you understand what I said, Naruto? Naruto's expression was a little embarrassed. I think I understand. The 3rd Hokage nodded, and it was no wonder that Naruto didn't understand it. He turned his head and continued to look at the light curtain. After leaving Naruto, Uchiha Itachi met his younger brother Sasuke on the way to find Kabuto Yakushi. Sasuke, as a top student of Sound University, has always been a staunch materialist, but this time, he had to reveal the posture of seeing ghosts in broad daylight. Sasuke. Wangtifa. At this time, Sasuke had roughly understood the truth about Itachi from Obito, but he still wanted to ask Itachi for clarification. Uchiha Itachi, who was busy on his way, said, "Little brother, don't say what you need to say. It's enough for you to understand. Now I'm going to fight. If you were a brother, come with me to chop him." So later, Itachi and Sasuke joined forces to fight against Kabuto Yakushi in the cave. Joined forces to fight? Has Kabuto become so powerful? Orochimaru knew that Kabuto Yakushi was a genius who had a common language with him. However, he did not expect that after obtaining his inheritance, Kabuto Yakushi would let Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Sasuke join forces to fight. These two are not unknown people. The former Itachi, blood counted to Orochimaru. Whether in the Akatsuki organization or resurrected from Sasuke's curse seal many years later, he was suppressed by Itachi. The latter Sasuke is also a ruthless person who killed himself. The fact that Kabuto Yakushi could let these two people join forces is enough to show that his strength has grown to a very strong level. However, Sasuke and Itachi in the light curtain are not compatible with Orochimaru. The original body was killed by his two brothers, but he still didn't let his successor go. He is really a professional snake cutter. Orochimaru, it's really hard for me. Wait, is there something wrong with the appearance of Kabuto Yakushi? At this time, on the light curtain, Kabuto Yakushi has turned on the Sage Mode, which has changed his appearance drastically. Orochimaru doesn't know the Sage Mode, so he doesn't know why Kabuto Yakushi has changed like this, but this doesn't prevent him from guessing. He knows that Jiraiya's face will also change a lot after entering the Sage Mode. One reason is that he is not good at learning, and the other reason is the characteristic of the Sage Mode. Thinking of this, Orochimaru has guessed that the reason why Kabuto Yakushi has changed so much should be that he has learned the Sage Mode of Raichi Cave. TSK, I haven't been able to learn the Sage Mode, but this guy Do has. How about, after we are done with these things, let Do go to Raichi Cave to learn the Sage Mode. I sincerely hope he doesn't die there. After all, it's hard to find such a good assistant. Pharmacist Do, who was fiddling with equipment in the laboratory, suddenly felt a strong sense of malice. Pharmacist Do, danger. Chapter 149 is an Am I? The Sage Mode of the three holy places in the psychic world is undoubtedly very powerful. Jiraiya was the undisputed tale of the three ninjas back then. But it was because he learned the Sage Mode of Nyoboku Mountain that his strength rose sharply. As long as Jiraiya successfully opened the Sage Mode, with the help of the two Sage Toads, Orochimaru could not beat him. Therefore, Orochimaru, who was determined to learn all the techniques of the ninja world, will naturally not let go of such a powerful sage technique. When he found the Raichi Cave, which is as famous as Nyoboku Mountain and the Wet Bone Forest, after much difficulty, God knows how excited he was. In order to see the White Snake Sage, he still needs to pass 3 levels and complete 3 tests. After all, the White Snake Sage is not something you can see just by saying so. The first test is sincerity. To put it bluntly, the White Snake Sage's men will perform illusions to show what Orochimaru desires most in his heart to hinder him. In the illusion, Orochimaru took a lot of effort to give up the immortality technique that was within his reach and enter the second level. The test of the second level is patience. Orochimaru needs to sort out the 2 kinds of food from a large basin of rice and mung beans. Orochimaru passed this level easily. He never lacked patience. After spending several hours, he successfully reached the third level. The test of the third level is sincerity. This level will go straight to the heart of the challenger through words, which can be said to be heart-touching, but as long as the challenger has a strong will, it is easy to pass. Is Orochimaru's will strong? He must be strong. So, he successfully passed the 3 tests and met the White Snake Sage. Originally, he thought that after meeting the White Snake Sage, he could learn the Sage Mode of Raichi Cave. But the White Snake Sage told him that practicing the Sage Mode is a very dangerous thing, and if he fails, he will lose his life. Orochimaru didn't care so much. Even Jiraiya, the idiot, could learn it, so there was no reason why he, a genius, couldn't learn it. Then he really didn't learn it. Fortunately, he didn't die, but half of his body was eaten by the subordinates of the White Snake Sage. It was also because he lost half of his body that he transformed himself into a white phosphorus snake. Based on the genetic characteristics of the white phosphorus snake, he developed the 8-headed technique. I don't know if it can be considered a blessing in disguise. As for Kabuto Yakushi learning the Sage Mode of Raichi Cave, Orochimaru admitted that he was a little jealous. But Kabuto Yakushi was his subordinate, and he would not suppress Kabuto Yakushi because of a little jealousy. He could even tolerate Sasuke, the father, so how could he not tolerate Kabuto Yakushi? He definitely didn't let Kabuto Yakushi learn the Sage Mode because he was jealous of him, but because he had this talent and wanted him to learn it as soon as possible so that he could contribute to Konoha in the next battle. Orochimaru. Kabuto, you know me, I never envy others, I just want to train you and make you stronger. Kabuto Yakushi. Do you think I believe it? In the battle against Kabuto Yakushi, Itachi used the ultimate eye technique that determines fate. Is an eye on Kabuto Yakushi. The Yakushi Kabuto, who was hit by this technique, fell into a cycle of being chopped forever. At this moment, Itachi used illusion to find out the method to cancel the impure world reincarnation, and then successfully cancel the impure world reincarnation. When the impure world reincarnation was about to be cancelled, Uchiha Itachi said to Sasuke, "No matter what path you choose, I will always love you deeply." After saying this, Uchiha Itachi's soul ascended to heaven. Looking at Itachi's soul ascending to heaven on the light screen, Sasuke instantly got goosebumps on his body when he thought of what Itachi had just said. Don't get me wrong, he was not moved by Itachi, but disgusted. He kept saying that he loved him, but in the end he had to use Shisei's Kautomitsukamite to forcibly change his will. Can this be considered love? Maybe Itachi's original intention was not to let Sasuke stand on the opposite side of Konoha, so that he was killed by the ninja sent by the village. Sasuke also admitted that Itachi might really love him. But he still felt very disgusted with having such a brother who wanted to control his life. Is an eye? What kind of eye technique is this? Sasuke, do you know? The words of Jiraiya the 5th generation brought Sasuke back to his senses. But he didn't know what kind of eye technique his anime was. I don't know this eye technique. If the 5th generation wants to know, I need to go back to the clan to find some information. Well, thank you for your trouble. Coincidentally, Senju Tobirama in Tobirama's office was also asking Uchiha Kagami. Jin, do you know about the Izanami eye technique? When I was looking for information, I came across the information about Izanami. Jin paused for a moment, and after recalling the information about this eye technique, he continued. Izanami is one of the ultimate eye techniques of the Uchiha clan, and it is also the only super illusion that can stop Izanijin. Using this technique will cause blindness in one eye, which means that under normal circumstances, an Uchiha can only cast Izanami twice. It can record a scene in which the opponent and the caster take action, and let the same scene be performed again. The opponent who is hit by this technique will be imprisoned in the time between the first scene and the second scene remembered in the brain, and enter a world of infinite reincarnation. If the opponent wants to unlock his Izanami, he must accept his original fate and repent sincerely. Moreover, the opponent who is hit by his Izanami will stand still and unable to move. This eye technique. After listening to Uchiha Jin's explanation, everyone fell into silence. The side effects of this technique are indeed serious. One eye will go blind after using it once, but it is also very strong. Not to mention that it can cause people to fall into an infinite cycle of reincarnation. The most important thing is that this technique can also make the opponent unable to move. This is the most unsolvable. In the light screen, Itachi had no intention of killing, otherwise he only needed to use a kunai to cut the throat of the immobile Yakushi Kabuto. Even if Itachi didn't kill him, as long as he was still immersed in the infinite cycle of reincarnation and did not repent, he would eventually not escape the fate of starving to death. Fuden should have a deep understanding of starvation to death. Fuden. Don't Q, thank you. Jin, do you know this eye technique? Jin shook his head. Unfortunately, I don't know as an Amai, and I haven't learned as Anaji either. It's really a pity, Jin, if you have learned as an Amai, and you use this on Uchiha Madara when you meet him, I don't believe that a man as proud as Uchiha Madara will repent. He will definitely fall into the illusion and can't extricate himself. Danzo, your idea is a bit mean, but I like it. Hey, Kufun, I didn't expect you to be a good person too. It's a pity that Jin doesn't know this trick. Hey, I'm really sorry that I don't know this trick. No need to say sorry, as disciples of teacher Tobirama, we will forgive you. Uchiha Jin. Chapter 150 Uchiha Itachi's inventory completed. The above is the life story of Uchiha Itachi. Then let's talk about this character at the end. After realizing that the ideal of the world of peace was doomed to fail, Uchiha Itachi chose to be abandoned by the world. He guarded peace amid misunderstandings and accusations, fulfilled his duties as a ninja, silently took over Shisei's torch, and walked alone in the darkness. Shisei. This torch, it's better not to have it. Looking at Uchiha Itachi's life, it is undoubtedly a rough and bloody history. He could not resolve the Uchiha coup peacefully by himself, nor could he use love and trust to guide Sasuke. The dead Uchiha clan members. Yes, he couldn't resolve it peacefully, so he killed us all, leaving only his brother, Itachi. Itachi before the impure world reincarnation, whether perfect or not, can at least be regarded as a real ninja. His greatest value as a ninja was in solving the impure world problem during the Fourth World War, and he retired without leaving any trace. There is a sentence that best reflects Itachi's core values, that is, no matter how much darkness and contradictions there are in the village, I'm Uchiha Itachi of Konoha. Ha, that's a good point, it's Uchiha Itachi of Konoha, not Uchiha Itachi of Uchiha. Sasuke sneered, as if he was very disdainful of this sentence. On the other hand, the 5th generation Jiraiya and the 3rd generation Hokage felt sorry for Itachi. Jiraiya. Uchiha Itachi. What a pity, he should have had a bright future. The 3rd generation Hokage. Yes, if it weren't for the radical Uchiha faction, Itachi wouldn't have taken this path. The 5th generation Jiraiya glanced at his teacher. He didn't mean that. The village was so strict against the Uchiha, and Itachi's surname was Uchiha, which was his original sin. Even if the radicals hadn't coerced the entire Uchiha clan, Itachi wouldn't necessarily have become a high-ranking official in the village. At most, he would have been a super fighter. Who told him to be Uchiha? As long as the disciples of the Second Hokage, Senju Tobirama, were in power, the Uchiha clan's political career was doomed to be unsuccessful. Jiraiya was actually feeling sorry for his disciple, the village's 4th Hokage, named Minato. The head of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Fuku, and Minato were comrades in arms and good friends. Fuku's wife, Uchiha Mikao, was also a close friend of Minato's wife, Uzumaki Kushina. If Minato was still alive, the Uchiha clan might have gotten out of their predicament. It's just a pity that the Minato couple died in the Nine Tails Rebellion. The main murderer was naturally Obito, who caused the turmoil, but Danzo was also very responsible. Not only did he stop the Uchiha clan from going to support them, but he also caused the Uchiha clan to bear an undeserved stigma afterwards. Danzo himself did not ask the root ninja to rescue them, but stood aside and watched in the name of protecting civilians and monitoring the Uchiha. To be honest, if there was support from the root and the Uchiha during that turmoil, the Minato couple might not have died. Danzo should take at least half of the blame for this. Danzo. I'll take it, Uchiha Itachi has been playing 2 roles all his life. 1. The elder brother who is like Sasuke's biological father. For his younger brother Sasuke, Itachi was very worried and used various means to arrange Sasuke's life clearly. 2. Uchiha Itachi of Konoha. For the peace of the village, he did not hesitate to raise the butcher knife and slaughtered his own family, leaving only his beloved younger brother. For Konoha, he also wanted to use Shisei's Sharingan to forcibly modify Sasuke's will. I think Konoha can consider awarding him the title of Honorary Hokage. Honorary Hokage. The 5th Hokage Jiraiya and the 3rd Hokage looked at each other and said nothing. It is impossible to grant the title. Itachi's contribution to Konoha is indeed great, but he is not the only one in Konoha's history who has made such great contributions. He was awarded the title of Honorary Hokage, but what about others? As Hokage, the 5th Hokage Jiraiya and the 3rd Hokage have to consider the overall impact. However, it is not possible to grant the title of Honorary Hokage, but it does not mean that other titles are not possible. The title granted by the village is not only a recognition, but also an honor. Old man, how about we study it later? Yes, it is a good thing to grant titles, which can make ninjas more honorable. Then it's settled? Yeah. Compared to Uchiha Madara, who took the initiative to give up the devastated world, Itachi is more like actively choosing to be forgotten by the world. He made the world forget his outstanding talents, endured suffering, shouldered responsibilities, and walked in the deepest darkness. He is a ninja who, for love and justice, bears the infamy, endures everything, enters the Tiger's Den alone, lurks for several years, and controls the situation in the battlefield of the gods. A well-deserved real ninja. Okay, that's all about Uchiha Itachi. Dear viewers, we will see you in the next video. By the way, remember to give up coins and likes, 1 click 3 consecutive. Bye. What a bullshit real ninja, he is just an executioner. After watching the video, Sasuke was the first to walk out of the office before the light curtain completely disappeared. Naruto was more worried about Sasuke's mental state, so he followed him out of the office. Seeing the two little ones leave, the 5th generation Jiraiya signaled Kakashi, Ashuma and Yuzakura to follow and protect them secretly to avoid the possible appearance of Black Zetsu and do bad things in secret. Seeing this, Lin also followed Kakashi and left the office. After everyone left, only Jiraiya, the 3rd Hokage, and Orochimaru were left in the office. Sasuke wants to revive his parents. Jiraiya, old man, what do you think? Do you want to agree to his request? Without waiting for the 3rd Hokage to reply, the 5th Jiraiya said, of course, if you are busy enough, you can put the revival of Fuku and Mukatao on the agenda. The 3rd Hokage opened his mouth, but in the end he said nothing, tacitly agreeing with what Jiraiya said. There is one more thing. I want to send Kabuto to Raichi Cave to let him learn the sage mode there. No, Kabuto Yakushi is too dangerous. We can't let him leave the village. The 3rd Hokage was very determined. He didn't want to let Kabuto Yakushi run away. He had to keep an eye on this man under his nose so that he could feel at ease. Jiraiya, what do you think? Orochimaru ignored the 3rd Hokage and looked at Jiraiya. Old man, you're a little too sensitive. Kabuto Yakushi is Orochimaru's subordinate. No one should know what kind of person he is better than Orochimaru. Orochimaru smiled. If he said at this time that he didn't know Kabuto Yakushi very well, would Jiraiya vomit blood after hearing this? No, Kabuto Yakushi cannot leave Konoha. Seeing that the 3rd Hokage still looked unmoved, Jiraiya shook his head and asked Orochimaru. Orochimaru, can you guarantee that Kabuto Yakushi will not mess up? Orochimaru thought about it and nodded, I promise he won't. That's fine, I agree that he will go to Raichi Cave. Hearing this, the 3rd Hokage said to Jiraiya in a stern voice. Jiraiya, you will regret it. Jiraiya replied with a serious expression. Teacher, now I am the Hokage. 3rd Hokage. 05205. What title is better for Uchiha Itachi? Gentlemen, do you have any good suggestions? End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.